And today's stream is a bit different than the others. So normally we go for a gaming stream, where we just see me grinding a lot of tables, let me see me talking about all the different things, and today we will do a review. So that means I will go through some of my hands and do some analysis of them, see if I made any mistakes here, or if I did the wrong if I did made the right decisions. Um, Let me quickly just set up everything here. Was in a bit of a hurry. Just guys, give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry guys, this was kind of important. Um, so what we will do today. Wait, I don't want to hear myself. So now we can start. Everything is fine here. Chat is put up. So as said, we will do a review stream today. Or you see already here, that's why the setup is a bit different as well. Mm, You see already my Hold'em Manager open. I already loaded all my hands I've played, and we will go through some of the hands. Of course, a lot of the most of the important hands, and I think for the final table we just do every hand. The final table was actually almost, I think, 260 hands or so. And the good thing is we don't have any time limit, so I will just have a group session at 8 p.m. later. So we have like 6 hours to do everything. Before I now go into the hands though, and as you see, we have, so if needed, we will also, wait, I want to open that. We will also use some of all of our software here if there's anything needed for that. And just to make sure, as you know where it is, here it is. You see the banner. Make sure to hit the link in the description below because we still have our nice group offer. As I just said, when I have my group session later, this is one of the group sessions that come from this course, and normally it costs 300 euros. You can get it for free just by playing on the site, creating rake, and then the software, the poker site will pay for you. So that's a pretty nice offer, I think. And all you have to do is click the link in the description below to get more infos. You can get in contact with one of our managers then, and he or she will explain everything to you. Also, we have the Master Free Roll series coming up. I will say a bit more about that later. But now you see, for the good thing is now you also see, because we also of course offer individual coachings. So you see now that I'm doing the analyzing, that what I would probably also do with you guys if we work together. So I would go through your hands and do an in-depth analysis of all that stuff. Now let's just start here. And as you see, we have all the hands. Unfortunately, Hodl Manager can't, so it can't filter to, the VP-IP, so every time I put in chips, but then all of the hands where I was in the big blind and it got limped to me are not in there. If any of you have any idea, because I just didn't find it, so I could, what is also possible is that you saw a flop, but then that I click on saw a flop is true. But then again, all the hands that are folded pre-flop, where I raise, folded something, or cold called and then had to fold to a squeeze or something like that, are not in there. So I just loaded up all the hands. The good thing is we can see all the hands where I didn't do anything really here. So I can just move to the hands where I played a little bit. And that's what we'll do for now, to go through those hands. This is early and mid stage now, and then also the late stage up to the final table. But now let's have a look. So here, pretty standard. In this case, as you see, we're also just seven-handed because somebody just busted here. And we see a pretty big continuation bet. I do have the open ender, so I have pretty good implied odds here in this case. And also direct odds when I just hit my open ender. But a lot of times, if he goes that big, he opened from early position, so he's going to be on. If he bets that big, it feels like he's on a overpair a lot. But if he's just doing it with overcards, then he's going to shut down on a turn a lot. And also, if the turn is a card that doesn't help me, but is kind of good for my range, I could go for a donk bet here to kind of protect my hand, and maybe even get him to fold all of his overcards. Of course, it depends on the card, because if it's like there's not a lot of hands of cards, that's like a deuce, a nine, a 10, I'd say is still fine with me. But if he has an overpair, it's going to be hard. But then I can get away with fewer chips, because if I here go for a blocking bet, in this case, if I call here, it's going to be like 1,217. I just go for like a 25-30% blocking bet on the turn. If he then raises, it's going to be easier for me to fold, because and I'm going to lose less chips, because if I check and he bets again, he's probably going to go big again with his overpair, um, and then it's going to be harder for me. So yeah, as I said, you see the ten of spades is then again not the best card, because there's a spade and we don't block any spades. And you see he goes pretty big again, and yeah, that is, as I said, not the best card. If it's another 10, I could have gone for a blocking bet, but 10 is like on the edge. So 9 is definitely better, a 9, but there's only like a 9 and a deuce, and a 6, of course, where we could do something. But like a 10 of spades and like a jack and upwards, and the 10 of spades is really not the best to do here. But yeah, we just lose a small one. You see, we starting with 5k, so it's not like we're down a lot. And we just jump to the next hand here. We 3-bet ace jack suited, pretty standard, pretty easy. We go for even a bit higher, because we're still pretty deep stacked. Normally I go for 4x, but because he wasn't that deep stacked anymore. I actually go for the bigger one, because I would probably not fold to a 4-bet jam, as you see. However, he makes quads on us. So yeah, we are already down to 1,200, which at that time was 15 big blinds. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't change anything. He would have shoved it anyway, because normally we would probably just, in this case, if he's down to 35 big blinds, go for like 3.5x. So that would mean like 450, 450, yeah, 550, 540, something like that. Here I decided to go for 4.4 roughly, because yeah, just wanted to get it in anyway. And I don't want to give him good odds for floating a lot here. So yeah, outcome, you saw the outcome. And then we were down a bit. Here we see one limp. If he's not limping, we could think about open shoving king 5 here from the button. It's a would be a bit loose, but might be a thing because as you see, both of them, we have quite a lot of hands and they were pretty tight. Anyway, so we go to our next hand. Here, then again, pretty easy. Even though he, like you see, we don't have a lot of hands on him because we haven't played much with him. But out of 14 hands, he limped, as you see, 8 hands. So that's quite a lot. So his range will be really wide. We take the call here for sure, and you see he limp called us with, yeah, just with 7-4 in hearts. And we get the first double up. Really, let's say, interesting line here to go for. Limping UTG, calling 12 big blind shove. It wasn't because it's not a PKO, so doesn't make sense really at all. We just move to the next hand. You see, like nothing really interesting here. Uh, we are down to 24 bigs. We could also just 3-bet jam, but I do think in that stage and is this with the stakes, like the Big 11 is also a tournament where even more fun players are in there because yeah, it's higher buy-in than usual for them, but because it's a big tournament, then they still like to play it a lot. So I decide to just go for the 3-bet here, and you see we get 2 calls in the blinds, and the initial raiser even folds it. Then, as you see, we just have how much is it? 1.7 into 2.4. So yeah, 2/3 so our STPR is like 0.65, 0.7, something like that. So we have a pretty easy shove. We get the call from Queen 10. We can hold, and suddenly we are up to 5.8k again. So the flip we lost is already forgotten here. Let's move now to the next hand. The good thing is also because we don't lose here anything. You see that our chip stack is almost the same. Yeah, pretty easy standard open here. We are multi-way, so the pocket eights do not have enough equity to c-bet. It's also not a good bluffing hand, really. It only works more or less like a bluff catcher currently. Now we saw him looking at like playing a lot of hands, so we could be pretty, yeah, we can be fairly sure that his range is mega wide here. Now that the small blind goes for a bet, um, he checked first. For example, I would check all my queens here as well. So he definitely has a few queens in his range. He's in the small blind as well, so his range is a bit better than than if he would sit in the big blind. So definitely he has a lot of queens there in his range. However, he can also bet all of his flush draws here. So if he has like ace 5 in clubs, ace 6 in clubs, ace 8 in clubs, or something like that, ace 10, ace jack in clubs, he would probably not 3-bet all of those hands, so he does have them in his range. Same goes for like really sick draws like 10-8 of clubs, jack 10 of clubs, king jack of clubs, where he also has the gut shots, or jack 8 of clubs. Um, they're all possible, so we can be good with our eights a lot. Excuse me. And also we do also have the gut shot with the 6 here to go for us. Therefore, we decide to call. I don't expect him to call a lot. He still does it though. Now we get the river 7. He checks, which is a pretty good sign. He would continue all of his queens here, I'm sure, because the 7 of diamond doesn't really change anything. However, we don't have any incentive really to bet here, and now it's just up to him. But he's been so passive the whole time. And yeah, in this case, at that time, I also thought about like having this hand, so we kind of had a perfect read on his draw. He even had the double gutter here with the flush draw. So it also makes sense for him to not really continue because he's blocking all those drawing hands. And yeah, he just had the open ender, but because of the price he got, I think a call is still fine. So yeah, pretty easy here. Let's move on here. Same thing. He limps and stays in the hand again. Then goes for the small raise. We flopped the nut flush draw with two overcards, so his raise, because he raised it pre-flop as well from the button, he would probably not really change his range because he should know that this player just doesn't fold anything and he plays anything. As you saw, he limped called 7-4 suited, so his range is really, really wide here. So I also did not give too much to his raise. However, I decided just to call. In hindsight, I think that shoving will probably be better, but I thought that I will keep him in the pot. And we've seen him calling fairly wide, so if he has like anything, even if he just has a 3 or a 7, he will probably not fold. And also, I didn't have that too much in mind, but now that we see it happens, if he just overcalls now, we can then jam still. From the price he's getting, he should not really fold anything here. But he even decides to fold it, which is pretty funny, in my opinion, that he raise folds to such a small price. But then we get the price here, and you see he had 9-6 in clubs, so he was down to an 8, 9, or 6 to hit. We hit the ace on the turn, so he was down to his 3 outs, the 3 8s without being a club. And we pick up another nice pot here. And as you see, we've been growing our stack pretty nicely. And now up to the next hand. So ace 10, we can have a short look about the, so I can just show you like the ranges that I'm using here as well. So I have 80 big, so we're really tight. Oops, going for this one. And we have small blind versus cutoff. So this might be a bit much right now. But basically, like this is my, so this is these are charts that we're using. We also give that away to yeah, people that get our course. We show them how Flopzilla works then, for example, and then also, of course, give them the charts to go for. As you see with that stack, ace 10, ace 10 offsuit, here we are. We can, the purple one says that we would 3-bet that as a bluff, but I will not do that all the time, so we didn't put in the filters for like 50%, but that would be a hand where we just do it in like, yeah, half of the time. Also, he's been sticky, so as a bluff, it needs to work then, because if we do it as a bluff, we want the opponent to fold. And even though we didn't have a lot of hands on him, you can just see that he raised a lot and he really liked to be aggressive. So we decided to just flat it in this case here. And yeah, we see a flop. Um, Pretty dry. So there's a flush draw out, but we've a paired board. With the two overs, with the two queens. Our ace high will be good a lot of times here. So we in the his continuation bet is not even, how much is it? Yeah, like 25%, a bit less than 20. Yeah, less than 25% even. So it's exactly 25. Okay. But yeah, you see we get pretty nice pot odds, and as said, S high will be good a lot. He's gonna continue a lot of his range here. So any ace X, a lot of his king X, especially if he has a heart in his hand. And therefore, as I said, our ace high will be good because we blocked that. Now he goes for a second barrel on the turn. Let's see, I call again. I think it's the same. It doesn't really change a lot. The queen on the turn doesn't change anything really. It just makes it more unlikely for the opponent to have a queen. So our ace X is getting a bit stronger, even in my opinion. And he would probably still go for his king X and a lot of his weaker ace X. Then, as said, like maybe some flush draws he can have, like 10-9, 8, like even 8-7 in hearts and stuff like that, where he will try to push us out, and all of his pocket pairs, of course. So now that the river comes, I think it's kind of hard for him to bluff a lot here, really. So I kind of put him on on a pocket pair here. The thing is with his flush draws, now that I think about it, is that he probably is going to shut down with with some of them, because there's already trips on the board, so it makes it easier if I have a deuce or if I have a pocket pair in my hand so he can't improve really. But yeah, to this bet, then I thought if he goes for 3 barrels on that kind of board, I don't really think that my ace high is good. I was also not blocking any hearts, so if I had like the ace of hearts, it would probably be easier for me to call here because he can't be on the nut flush. So yeah, I just decided to give it up. Next hand here. So he went in for 28 bigs. That's actually a hand where we can look at the icy miser if the call was good or not. Let me see where it is. So you just copy the hand here, go into the icy miser, and yeah, then you click on icy miser. The good thing is now for the icy miser 3, it also does the simple Nash um, calculation in the same move. And then you can see what we should also do. We should also see like the EV difference, so that we don't want to go for those really small plus EV situations. So if you see like ace 8 would be a positive EV call, uh, that we are not going to do that anyway. But of course, what I just forgot here is our opening range. So let me edit it quickly. There it is. So we would of course also raise this. Probably not this here. I'd rather go for some more suited hands. So you see like the difference that Nash is making. So yeah, as I said, I would go for quite some more. I think that's where I draw the line. Probably also open this and this. So something like this. It's then 3% more. It's not locked. And let's have a look at his shoving range. At that stage, I don't think they have a lot of these weak bluffing spots. So any pair. And as you see here, there's also like a probability. So I think that's actually fine. They sometimes gonna do that here, but not all the time. Okay, so let's lock it so it's not changed. Do it again. And let's see with the new, yeah, I'm gonna change a bit. It's a bit worse. I think it had 0.87% plus before that. Now it's a bit less, but as you see, for example, like ace 8 is now a worse call, and a lot of the Broadway is getting weaker as well. So you see, we should start calling from fives, even if we make it a bit, yeah, even if we put like the EV difference a bit higher here. But yeah, you see sevens actually a pretty easy call in that situation. If you think about it being a PKO tournament, then you could probably even call fours here, maybe even threes because of the bounty. You can add some more big blinds here, and then it gets a bit your calling ranges get way wider. But you see here, sevens should be a call. That's exactly what I did, and I hold versus King Queen. So you see, for 28 bigs, because we opened from the button, I think the shove is fine. He's gonna get a lot of folds here most of the time, and as you see, like even Ace 8, for example, where we would be a 70%, 60% favorite, should be a fold according to the IC miser, and because this is just like we can't expect him to have exactly that hand, right? We need to have a lot of ace X in the range, and then he's gonna have us beat, and we will be down to 30% in those hands. But yeah, nice pot for us, and we just continue to have to have nice hands. So I think pretty easy situation here again. Tens are I think nines and eights I will just flat, but with tens I go for the three bet here, and just the flatter decides to call us. And in this case, because he had only an STPR of one, so he had almost exactly pot left, I just decide to push it. Can probably also go for a small bet here, just like a third if he has two overs in some way. So probably he's even priced in to call once. But at that situation, I thought a lot of the time they have pocket pairs, so it's gonna be like, yeah, like fours, of course, threes, fours, fives, sixes, sevens, eight, nines. So a lot of pocket pairs that are worse than mine. But on that board, I think they will not fold. Of course, if they have sixes, eights, and threes, but also then we would be behind now. But same goes for nines, sevens, fives. I don't think they will fold on that board. So and there are more combos that we beat than the other way around. Makes sense. So yeah, this is actually, yeah, we just got the same hand dealt twice in a row, and yeah, here we decide to just go for the four bet instead of just shoving because he was having 114 bigs. Uh, I wanted to isolate, so I did not call, but I wanted to keep something behind. So if he decides to shove it now, that we can fold, because then it just looks ultra strong, and I'm not gonna go in there with tens. But he just decided to fold. We got in versus ace jack, flopped a set. He made an open ender on the turn, but didn't get there. So we just pick up another nice pot, and we were already up to 17,000, which was at that time 120 big blinds. So you see, we healed pretty nicely from being down to 15 bigs here. And as you see, we also had a pretty nice card run here, starting with nines, just two hands after having the tens twice. And yeah, he was on 38 bigs. His squeeze does look pretty strong. Sorry guys, English is not my first language, so sometimes some problems here. Um, but yeah, so it did look pretty strong. But then I saw his stats, even though, as I said, I did not have a lot of hands on him. But I saw that he's been raising a lot. So I felt like even if squeeze should make his range a bit shallower, that we will do pretty nice with our nines here anyway. And if I just call, because I don't think folding here is really an option, if I just call, we get it four-way to the flop, and then our nines lose a lot of equity. Of course, he calls. And yeah, as you see here, he made the move with ace queen suited. I think there's, to be honest, not, yeah, so that we ever get a flip, it's like ace king suited and offsuit, ace queen suited, and maybe sometimes ace jack suited. But other than that, we will be beat a lot of times. Um, but yeah, in that case, as I said, I think that his range of doing that might be even a bit wider, so that he might even do that with ace 10 suited, and maybe even with like eight sevens sometimes. So I thought it would be. I think I even had some note on him maybe on one of the other hands that I didn't show you. But anyway, yeah, we were able to hold here, of course, really nice, and that was another 12k pot. So that put us up to. Okay, there was I think the big blind changed then, right? Yeah, okay, because we were only up to 121 bigs at that time. We continue. Again, pretty easy. Open here. We flop two pair. Really nice. Of course, we continue here. We go a bit bigger because the board is really wet, and therefore I don't think more or less, it kind of feels like that. That it's more or less like a standard bet of going like for 25 or 30%. Um, Even though we block already two cards that he can have, there's just so much for him in this hand. 10-9, if he has 10-9, Queen 10, anything with a heart behind that will still call here to see a turn because a lot of turns can get pretty nice for him. So therefore I decide to go a bit bigger. He will not fold a jack here. Um, Probably still call with an 8 if he has like 8-9 or 8-10 or something, or 8 queen where he has some backdoor draws. We get the call. The turn brings the flush in. I still decide to continue here because, as I said, like again, of course you can have some flush draws here, but as you see, there is just so many other draws in there. So I'm not blocking any heart, which was one of the not so good things. Uh, but still, I thought that it's gonna be fine. What we can actually do, we can try to put it in simple post flop. Actually, let me see if I can get that to work. I sometimes am too stupid for this, to be honest, but yeah, maybe we can just do it like this. So let me put that here. So we had the oops, sorry guys. So yeah, we have the button open versus the big blind defend. So we got the call. Let's put in this one here first. That looks fine as well. So let's see, we're at the main pot. That should be fine. Wait. No, I know what I forgot. Okay, no, I want to go for this. Okay, never mind. As I said, sometimes I'm too stupid. So we go for this here. We see a turn. And now we can just calculate the turn first here to see. And then you see that we should continue here a lot. You see, I went for 70%, so like 66% here in that case. Nash, the simple post flop says we should go most of the time for the 70% bet here. And yeah, now you can just see what we should continue here. For example, now if you have ace 8 offsuit with my combination, it's this one. Yeah, where you see definitely betting here. And you can also see how it looks. So we have, let me just do have some other greens. But actually you can see it. So we have the 50% and the 70%. Actually, this one is leaned more towards going for the 50% here. But most of the time we can still go for the 70%. So it's definitely fine. And you see we have too much equity here. It does look kind of scary with the heart, but we should definitely continue here every two pair combination. And yeah, you can see here like all our two pairs, mostly for half the pot actually, but at least in roughly a quarter of the time we can go for 70%. So in the long run, probably going for half pot is a bit better here, but 70% is still fine. And you see here, yeah, so played like 40%, exactly 60 to 40. That makes sense. You see like the 30% are never like really the check just one in a thousand time, one in a 10,000 times even just. So yeah, a small mistake in sizing maybe because we went for the 70% instead of going for the half pot, which is better according to simple post flop, but just a small one. By the way, just to make it even, just to see what we should check here. So some things we could check. What would be checked here? Yeah, that will be continued. Okay, so just all the non flush suited hands with kings, like then we should sometimes go for the, yes, for example, all the kings where we have a heart should be checked most of the times because we do have the non flush draw then. But we should continue with yeah, we should go for the higher sizings here as you see with all of our non our kings that don't have a heart. So even though there's an ace, we should continue with all our kings here. Only as at with the king of where the king of hearts, or we have same goes for the Broadway hands. The checks we have are always with the Broadway combinations where we have a heart in our hand, which is pretty interesting. And yeah, same goes for queen. So all the suited combinations, as you see, we should check most of them here. But you see, like if for example queen six suited, because then the opponent can have some more combinations, we shouldn't check. We should just bet small with those. So the weaker the flush gets, the more we should bet. But then again, you see, we should bet it just a third. And then, of course, like deuces. We will continue with when we have the deuce of hearts, but other than that, we just fold them. We just check them. And yeah, we get the fold here. Let's have a look quickly what happened. So we went for 70%. Okay, yeah, we had to change that a bit. That changes a bit. But yeah, you see how that worked out. And yeah, we just continue. We can, as said, we skip some hands because we haven't played that many. We open up with sevens here. Let me quickly do go on here. So we open with sevens. We get the three bet to 3.5x roughly from a deep stack. And on that board, yeah, we don't have any intention really. We don't have the seven of clubs, so we can actually just give it up to one bet. If he has some bluff three bets, they're gonna have a lot of ace x or king x in them, so his range is hit like perfectly, and therefore we can just give it up. And again, if we have the seven of clubs, we can maybe call once, but other than that, we just, as said, give it up. And now I need to quickly check something. Stay tuned, guys. Okay, all good. Okay, all good. So we have the pocket eights here. Again, standard opening. We get one call from the button. Here, this time you see dry board, no flush draws, some straight draw possibilities, but if he has some, we have really nice blockers for that because a lot of his possible, like he can have 6-3 shouldn't be really called, so he might have 6-7 suited, but then we block that with the eights. He calls. Now the turn is 7, not the worst card for us, so he can just call with a lot of overcards at least once, especially if he has like some backdoor flush draws. The only thing you should really I'm gonna be concerned about is there's like 10-9 suited, 9-8 suited, Jack 10 suited, Jack 9 suited, and yeah, Queen 9, King 9, Ace 9 suited probably, but that's not too many combos. So we continue here. The 7 is a pretty nice card for us. We increase our equity by quite a bit because we do have the gut shot now as well. And there's still just one overcard to the board. And yeah, so that's also one kind of important thing because it happens a lot, I think, that people just give up on the first barrel. So you would then, a lot of people then check the turn. I mean, the turn is a good card for us, so there's no need for us to check. And in the few rare occasions where he has a 9, then he's gonna he's probably gonna raise the turn and then we can still fold, but he's gonna fold so much else that would be happy to see a free river, and there can be so many bad river cards for us. So therefore, showing your aggression is really nice. Also, by the way, don't be concerned about the stats I'm having here. It's actually a bit uh, it's a bit funny because it shouldn't like it's not the current one. It always shows me 981 hands, even though you see I have it put to 1,000. So I kind of have some problems with that. I probably need to look it up. But yeah, this is not my actual stats currently. It's a bit weird, but anyway. So we pick up a nice little pot and we go to the next hand. We decide to, you see, we have still 100 big blinds. We're doing pretty well here. 10-8 suited is a really nice hand to play here. So we decide to call here. We have a four-way pot. Um, Open Razor continues. The sizing was a bit off in my opinion, like 40% versus 3 players. Not sure about that, but I mean, we pick up second pair plus the gut shot, even though we don't have any spades, but I think we at least call once. Uh, then if he goes for this small raise, I do think we are behind all the time, and even our 9 will not be good. All the time. Even also, we just have like the 2 other eights and like 3 9s because if one of the 9s is a spade, uh, the chance is really high that it improves someone to a flush. So we just decide to give it up here. Let's see how it just went on. And you see there's just the instant shove here. He just had 2/3 of the pot behind, so it's definitely okay. And yeah, I think the way we played it is definitely fine. Okay, we just give it up. Then you see we didn't really play any hand here. As you see, we went down to 44 bigs. Not, I don't want to miss anything. Yeah. As you see, we just lost like 500 chips, so just like went through the blinds 1 or 2 times. And yeah, that's also gonna happen. Yeah, here I don't think we should do anything. What we can do is just raise it again, but because of the stacks, I think it's fine to just ISO shove here. It's then also just 44 big blinds. It's not that much. And from a seven big blind open shove, like what should we go raise to? If we raise it to 20, it doesn't really matter if we go for 20 or 44, really, in my opinion. However, then somebody woke up behind us and we got it in versus 9s and ace 8. So somebody just flopped a flush. We were able to yeah, hit our river though. We did have any 10, any spade, any king, any ace. So we had a lot of outs. Uh, but still, yeah, it wasn't even a coin flip. Let's see. Can we see the percentages? Okay, why doesn't it show? But yeah, I mean we can just use our Equilab for that. So I'll just take it over here so I can see everything. We had the ace of hearts and the ace of spades. We had nine of clubs, nine of hearts, and the ace of diamonds, king of spades. So in this case, you see we have 34% versus in a three-way spot. If we put him away, what we can do though. Whoops, sorry. Oh, sorry guys. That's when you click on numbers while still being on in OBS. So we can put some dead cards just to see how it looked here. But as you see, um, we were three ways here. So we just had 30% in that case. Yeah, close one, and yeah, we got lucky in that way that we did hit. As I said, like I mean, we did have quite some outs here from the flop on, but still really nice. And all in all, as you see, instead of being so, even though he won the pot, we went up from 22 to then 37,000. So we almost increased our stack by 70%. And yeah, as said, I don't really see any other play. Yeah, here then we have the ace king. Again, I think pretty standard. There's so the effective stack is 31 big blinds or 38 in his case, and versus a middle position opening. Because of the squeeze, I think for roughly 40 bigs, we can just shove it and make a nice profit here. We can of course sometimes three bet, but I think especially with the squeeze and the dead money in there, it makes more sense to just shove it. And yeah, as you see, we haven't played too many hands then for a long time. And this is our next one here. We get 3.5x from the small blind. We decide to call here. And we flop top pair with a small flush draw. I think our we don't or our ace is kind of hidden. Um, and at least we have the four of spades for a small flush draw, which is nice. He's going to continue all his range, and as you see from his hands, he's been really, really active. So therefore, also we can just call. Now, interesting decision on the turn. He just decides to go for the two times the pot shove. Um, I just decided to fold. I don't really like. I couldn't really give him anything here, but I was kind of sure my ace is not good. I feel like this was a thing. He didn't have a spade, and he didn't want to see another spade on the river or make it like in some way cheap. So we had like some better ace X without a spade, in my opinion. Other than that, it doesn't really make sense why he just decided to go for the 2x shove. But anyway, as you see, we're down to 50 bigs then. And yeah, we have ace jack here, 25 bigs. We have the low jack, so middle position, open raise, 25 bigs then, or 23 effectively here. Pretty standard in my opinion. We got it in versus eights, and yeah, we are able to win another flip here. We can at least have a small look. Let's see where the ace jack hand is. As you see, already going up, going down quite a bit. So for that, we always have the nice icy miser to have a look at this, whether it is a good or bad call. So you see, we were eight-handed here, 25 bigs, ace jack suited. Yep, seems about right. And let's have a look at his opening range. I do think he's not gonna open all of these. Maybe King 9, King 8 suited sometimes. Maybe here also like, I don't know, like 60%. It doesn't really matter too much. Sixes probably all the time. And fives. I think all the suited aces and ace 7 should be fine as well. So now we can just do it again. And we see that ace jack suited is still a profitable. As you see, every pocket pair would even be profitable here. Even though again we would not, as we put like at least like 0.10% EV difference in here. So you see fours would be on the edge really. Even ace 10 suited would be good enough here, but ace jack suited definitely is a positive EV push. So yeah, that's actually just what I need to see. And yeah, in this case, you see, we want to flip again. So we can definitely not complain about how we were running. And yeah, we were up to 45 bigs again. We have a limper here. You see, he limped quite a lot as well. So we made it 4x after his limp. We see a call. He then decides to donk half of the pot. I thought it can, of course, be in some ace and a lot of ace, smaller ace X and some king X, but also just like some maybe queen jack or same hand, even jack 10 or some flush draws. And I felt like I do have only third pair, but I do have the backdoor flush draw, plus I have the gut shot. Um, Probably because of the price or his bet size, it's probably not the best call to do. But yeah, not so sure, not so sure. However, he decides to then jam, and suddenly he just snap folded here. And even though we got a pretty nice price, so we'd only have to have 25%, but I didn't think we have that really. So yeah, gave it up here. So we're down to, let's see, did we win something here? Now we just lost some blinds, and yeah, we're back to like 30 bigs. We saw a min open, a min 3-bet from him. That's why I decided to 4-bet it here. And I think that was one of my few mistakes here. So the thing is here that he shoves it then, and my ace 10 was a more or less, it was a bluff 4-bet, so it was definitely not for value. But then I saw like, okay, wow, I just have to have like 34%. And I did think I gonna have that. So he's pretty much face up here with jacks, queens, and kings. So then I thought, okay, I do have the price for that. I don't think I can fold here really anymore. Definitely this was for sure a mistake on my side. Let's see, I'm not completely sure right now if the Icemizer is able to show that because there's so many actions. Yeah, un-itemizable situation. Okay. But at least what we can show, at least we can go into the ranges. So according to the normal ranges, he will have that in his range still, but I kind of think that it's really down to like this. And yeah, then we would not do really well. Let's see our calling range. But as you see, at least according to that, we would probably because of the price need to call then ace 10 suited. But yeah, I didn't like it really that I called here. Was probably a bit maybe because of the multi-tabling, or I didn't see the opening raise here. I thought he opened 3x just. But yeah, so we still made the call, and yeah, we got lucky versus ace king in that situation. So as said, we did have our 30% only. So for the price, it was roughly okay. You think even because of the price, it wasn't completely fine. like how much we needed. We got 34%, and let's see if we do have 34% versus Ace King. I mean, he even had the Ace King and oops. So it was okay. I had this, and he had it was the yeah Ace of Clubs. So you see, we only have even 30, like 29.7%. So yeah, in this case, definitely not a good decision from my side. I kind of felt like I'm too much priced in here. We got lucky though, so that's gonna happen as well. But here, definitely um, not the best play from my side. But it's gonna happen. I said I was multi-tabling. Like, of course, don't want to look for excuses, but I still feel like this can happen sometimes. If it's a PKO, then it's a call for sure. I mean, as I said, the price is kind of even, so we needed like 5% more in equity for that call. But if there's some bounties involved, then we can definitely call this. But here, yeah, not not the best play from my side, but we did get lucky, and yeah, this is gonna happen sometime. Sevens here, we will start three betting nines most of the time here, and tens for sure, nines mostly. He was pretty deep and fairly tight, so that's another thing why I just flatted here and would probably even just flat nines. We got a pretty nice flop here, three ways. It checked through though, and on that turn I just decide to go big. The eight gives out a lot of potential draws, and for example, the good thing is Jack 10 and specifically, which would be the nuts right now. I do think that Jack 10, at least from the open razor, would continue here, even versus two people, because it does have quite a good playability still. So it was only down if the big blind is gonna have Jack 10 here. It's of course in his range, but yeah, it's not a lot of combinations. So therefore, I just thought to go for it. But there's gonna be some 10x, some 6x, a lot of diamond draws can be in there, especially from him here. So I just went for the bigger sizing, but I got the folds. Yeah, then we did again a lot of folding. As you see, how many hands is that? Like 30 hands where we didn't play anything. It's gonna happen. And we wake up with ace jack offsuit. Again, pretty standard open. He defends dry board, so we decide to go for the Conti bet. And now he goes for the small raise. So I think I know what I did here, if I'm not mistaken in that hand. Let me quickly see. Where is it? Yeah, exactly. So um, my my idea here was that if he has a seven, there's no reason on that dry board to raise really. Sometimes, of course, because good players know that there shouldn't be any reason to raise a 7 here because the board is so dry. That's exactly why they do it. But I felt like he uh, wasn't like a reg player, a good reg player. So um, I actually decided to shove it, and I got the fold here with just ace jack. So as I said, I think a lot of time it doesn't make too much sense to raise a 7 here, and especially not so good players or inexperienced players. I don't want to call them bad. So in more inexperienced players, they tend to then just call here because they think, okay, yeah, I'm gonna play it tricky and I want him to bet more. Um, so it didn't really make sense for me. He could raise a 5 here, of course. That would make more sense to me, or something like 6-8 or 6-4. But then versus the draws that he can have, maybe even like 9-8, maybe even or 4-3 suited or something like that, then I would still look pretty good with ace high if I get the call. So he would need to call me with like 9 high or 4 high in that situations. So the only thing I was kind of afraid of this was if he has a 5, but yeah, I thought I'm gonna go for it here. According to his stats, he might be able to like raise it sometimes, so he knew what he was doing in that case. But we got the call here, so yeah, I was happy with that play. As I said, depends always on the player. So now, while I talk about that hand, it it's always like because of the player that I saw. Okay, his stats gave me some idea that he might be able to make a check raise here. Also, the sizing kind of felt a bit bluffy. I feel like if it's a seven, he would go for a smaller raise. Actually, if it's a five, he would probably go for a bigger raise or maybe just shove it even. So I thought, yeah, that does look like a pretty nice spot from his side to raise because also 577 is not hitting our range too much. And if you continue, we will have a lot of air hands here. So that was in my mind in that case. And again, it always depends on the player uh, when they do it. If I have the feeling that this should be a good move, then I do it. And like some, as I said, most of the stats they give me some incentive to do it or not. We get the open raise from UTG here, six big blind reshove, and in this case I just decided because if you see stats, he played a lot, so I decided to just flat it here because I thought I kind of want him in the flop here. There's already like almost 50k in the pot, even more than 50k in the pot if you call. So I just have an STPR of 1.6, 1.7. So I will get it. I can just bet a lot of flops. And yeah, the only thing would be an ace high flop. That would be a bit annoying. So therefore, I just flatted. Maybe even with the incentive that he could reshove here because his hand doesn't want to play any post flop really. That's exactly what he did. So we got the bait. In this case, he had ace king suited, so he did it for value, of course. But we were able to hold with our kings versus both players, and yeah, suddenly we were up to like 100 big blinds again. Then we have queen nine suited here. Uh, we can three bet that sometimes, but because of his stack, of course, we just call. Big blind comes along here, and pretty nice flop for us. So we flop the open ender with a backdoor straight draw as well, and the queen high flush draw. It checks to us, and we decide to go for 2/3 sizing. From the sizing, I think it's fine to go. Yeah, to go 2/3 should be fine. A lot of hands in that with for that price is still going to call, especially if he's in a big blind like some 7x, 6x. The open raiser will not have a lot here on his range. It's going to be down to over pairs, but then he would continue them on the flop, in my opinion. If he has a set of sevens still, because there's a flush draw and a lot of straight draws out there, he should continue them. So I was sure his range is not that strong, but I think the board hit the big blind pretty well. So I thought I do have a lot of equity here, so I just go for the bigger sizing. We get the fold from the open raiser, and in that case, because in my button range has more ace x than his big blind range, so I think yeah, exactly. I went for the second barrel here. And yeah, if he was on some 7x or 6x, I mean, the good thing is we do have still like two overcards to that. Uh, but so far we just have queen high, so yeah, I'm happy to get that on the turn. And if I check here now, it doesn't look really strong anymore, and it feels like we don't have an ace a lot. So in that case, I went for the second barrel here. If he still calls, there's a lot of good rivers for us. And then still he needs to decide if he thinks we don't have an ace here, because he will not have a lot of aces in his range. Also, there shouldn't be a lot of floats from his side with ace x, only like some ace x in clubs that he might have, but that is it. Yeah, so far to that hand, and we continue. Queen 5 suited, also pretty standard defend here. We flop top pair. We see the check here, the check behind. I think that was a bit surprising to me because that board does look, or the flop is not the worst for his range. It's actually a pretty good board. And if I remember correctly, he was a pretty good player. If I'm not completely mistaken, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I said I was a bit surprised here. Um, the turn is the eight of hearts. We can have a lot of 10x in our range. He will not have too many. It only comes down really to tens and ace 10, king 10, but I do think he would continue king 10, and I also think he would continue tens and ace 10. Uh, Pot control, I didn't feel like it's such a big thing in that in this position here in that situation. So yeah, I went for the pretty big turn bet here. He calls. We river two pair. Also the flush comes in, but then again, he would continue mostly all of his flush draws on the flop. So yeah, I didn't think it was a bad card for us, and I felt like we were behind. Uh, we were definitely good here. On the other side, I thought that. Sorry if I sometimes have to think about this because the hand is already a week ago. But I think my opinion here was I don't really have a lot of hands I can get a call from. Like if you go through his possible combinations he can have, he would continue all of his queen x on the flop really, most of his jack x only if he maybe like ace jack offsuit for example with no club, or even ace jack suited but without a club he would check back. But even those he should continue, in my opinion, because we in the big blind are not gonna have too much. Uh, like a lot of times, we can of course have some random queen x, like in my case here, the queen five suited. But I think a good jack here is a c bet mostly, and yeah, this is more or less for me like a one bet hand here, so that we have just a bet on the turn or the river maybe. I felt like the turn bet is a bit better because he's on the turn because it checked through that we think he's not that strong, so that on the turn we can have at least one bet. And he can then, if he decided to check some ace jack behind or king jack, maybe even with a gut shot, uh, which again I don't think he can check it sometimes behind, but I don't think most of the time. But yeah, I felt like I can either let him bluff here. So because I was pretty sure I'm good, so I would bluff catch here, but I didn't feel like I would get anything to. I would get a call if I bet another time, even if we bet pretty small. However, he had ace jack here, so interesting to see here if then like yeah if ace jack is is a continuation bet or not. What we can actually do, we can have a look at Flopzilla for this. So he was let's have a look at this together. So 40 big blinds, and he was UTG plus 2. And we had Queen 5 and hearts. So we have the flop of Queen of diamonds, 9 of clubs, Jack of clubs. So now let me. Okay, for this we have to, of course. Let me get in there. So we have the big blind versus UTG. Oh yeah, and we have the board. Okay. Okay, as you see here, just to, looks good. That only my face is free. Yeah, as we see ace jack off, definitely. So, like a rule of thumb in that situation is um, to have ace jack off. Of course, before we start that, we need to put the range in on that board. Let's set everything at 0 for now here. And let's see what he would continue. So the straights, as you see, king 10, 10, 8. Yeah, he would continue them, pretty sure. He would continue all of his sets, definitely two pair combos. He would continue with his overpairs, definitely all of his top pairs. In my opinion, he should also go for the middle pairs. And for the weak pairs, I'd go with these at least. So let's see, some ace highs for sure. Maybe not all of them. Let's go for the over pair as ace axis. We leave them out for now because we can put that in the flush draw parts, the ace x and stuff. And yeah, the no mate hand. For now, we skip that one too. So now we have the flush draws. So continue all of the flush draws, all of the open and straight draws. Let's see what gut shots are in there. Okay, so we have the gut shots. We have that covered with most of these, and in the nomad hands we have the king 8. But I think not continuing them is fine. Yeah, we have the overcards covered already. I think the two card backdoors should also continue. We have that one covered, and that as well. Yeah, flush draw plus pair, of course, with overcard, with open-ender, with gutshot. And yeah, we have all of them already covered. So you see, should like continue 80% of his range. And let's now see what I will continue. It's in this case, it's just about calling here. So everything I would raise, we gonna keep out. I would raise straights most. Yeah, I would raise all my straights here for sure. So I will keep that out. We would raise my sets for sure. I would raise my two pairs. Oh yeah, I before I do that, I need to get those hands because of course I would three bet them. So sorry, I forgot that. Yeah, it looks better. Okay, so that's a bit better now. Anyway, yeah, we would just call all of our top pairs really. We would call all of our middle pairs and all of our weak pairs. Well, not all of our weak pairs. I would call these. and at least eights, but probably fold maybe sevens. We can call sevens here, no. Yeah, some ace highs. I leave that open because I can then rather go for like the open enders and stuff like that. And yeah, we would also fold here. Again, I will pick those hands then with flush draws and stuff in that hand. So for flush draws. Um, so I would raise ace 10 suited for sure. Same goes for king 10 suited. I mean, it was already in the other one as well. The queen 10 suited I would raise as well. And probably like all my nut flush draws. And also, I would actually just call that one here. Okay, so we get that one. My open enders, I would call mostly all of them. Then we have some gut shots here. Let's see what I would still call here. So those hands are already covered here in top and middle pair, so I'm not gonna change anything here. We have the two cards. I think I would call actually all of my two card backdoor flush draws. Mostly. Okay, not all. I would definitely fold all those without a pair. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, then with the one card, nope. And okay, I would raise all of them. Flush draws open, I said I would raise them as well. Then those are all already covered. Okay. So in that case, he actually was right to check that. Good to know for me as well. So, I mean, I did now, let me now do a bit more talking. I needed to put in everything correctly. So versus my calling range, because now I just put in what I would call, um, you see that ace jack, so even king jack offsuit would be really, it has a bit more equity because of the gut shot, but so you see, again, the rule of thumb here is really to have, yeah, to have like 65% of equity at least, because you lose like between 5 and 10% per street if you don't improve really. So you need to have at least, yeah, you want to have more than 50% on the river, basically. It's pretty simple. Uh, so here then ace jack offsuit is not good enough. And which combination did he have exactly? He had ace of spades with the jack of diamonds. Okay, so that one has even only 59.4%. Mm, interesting for sure. So yeah, you see, the ones with the club have a bit more equity, but checking second pair with not with yeah then God with ace high, so top middle pair top kicker. That's what I was gonna say. To check that behind is actually good. Same goes for king jack. You see also like Jack 10 suited is really close actually. King Jack suited is even a bit worse than King Jack off. Ace Jack suited is also a bit worse than Ace Jack offsuit. But yeah, interesting here. So he definitely made the right check back here. And also you see, it's probably also because if you look at my range here, I don't really have any value hands. So I will not have a lot in my range here to like of course it's just what I would call with. So I would call with just with the king 10. In this case it's just the diamonds. Why is not the clubs one in there? I want to have I would just call if I have the clubs, of course. Why should I? Okay. Ah, okay, I need to put that in here because of course I will have. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. Yeah, perfect. And the same goes for 10-8. Okay. So yeah, in my calling range, he's gonna be ahead of that range by quite a lot. You see he has like then 61% equity versus that range. So therefore it does make sense to check that behind because we will also not improve that much. So yeah, pretty pretty interesting here that ace jack offsuit does not have enough equity in that situation. Even with the ace of clubs, it's not good enough as you see. So it does have like 62%, but as said, you should have like 65. So Jack 10 suited is a call, and you see also stuff like Jack 8 suited needs to be checked behind, 10-9 suited, even also tens, and everything that's below 50% can be good for bluffing. So you see, I mean, he does not have too many combinations here, then, but those would be good for bluffing for sure. Especially the clubs, of course, have nice playability, and they have like 50. So all the nut flush draws could be more likely check behinds, but the backdoor flush draws here can be could be bet. So yeah, interesting to see this one here. Again, if you now sometimes then I just to make sure that I don't make any mistakes here, I am a bit quiet in that. But of course, if we like because we also for coachings, if we do individual coachings, we would do stuff like that. So go more into detail with analysis of hands. And here, I think like again, this is a yeah pretty interesting one to see that he does the right check here with ace jack. I would think that second pair should mostly be bet here, but in that situation it shows that the equity of all of the ace jack combos is not good enough to bet here. So checking it behind is pretty good from him. And yeah, probably also because we will start bluffing on quite a lot of turns. But yeah, um, yeah, well played by him. Any still, I think that I will not get any more bet here on the river. Mm. But now I also see that just to be sure, like for example, a pocket tens, that he needs to check them behind. So if he has the open ender here, I would not give him that in his check back range really. But as you see, every almost yeah, all the weaker 10x, so only those. But ace 10 offsuit, same. Uh, let's see. Yeah, all of them have less than 50% here. So he should check them. Oh, actually, ace 10 offsuit would be good to continue because they have less than 50%. Everything that has less than 50 is fine, actually. But yeah, so tens would be in that range as well. Yeah, good to know for sure. But yeah, we got that one as well with at least one street of value. And yeah, we continue. So you see, like going on those hands, it sometimes takes quite some time. Sorry, I just need to plug in my phone real quick. And yeah, so we open, yeah, any ace, pretty standard. I continue here. We do have the fourth. We have a gut shot at least to the wheel. We have an overcard with the ace, and we do have at least one small diamond, which could be a thing for later. So that's why I bet here. The Jack of Hearts is then not a really good card for us, also for our range because we're on the button, so we do have a pretty wide range. Um, so I didn't think it was the best for us. And also the Six of Hearts doesn't really change a lot, so we just decide to give it up. Also, I think in this case, of course, if he just if he calls the flop because it's so dry, and he's in the small blind, so I don't see him on too many like 4-6 or so. It could be 5-6, really. 4-5 also not really. So I think 5-6 would be the bottom that he starts calling here. He could do it with 7-6 maybe that he floats once, but then I do think that it's going to be suited and it will be like in diamonds or hearts, so where it will also be pretty hard for us to get him off. So I think we bet here once, but then we on that run out we should give it up. The only thing in hindsight is because I have the ace of hearts, so we do block any backdoor nut flush draws that he is here have ace deuce, ace four in hearts or something like that, which could be a thing. Uh, but then because we block it, so it's really not a thing here for him. So yeah, we would lose this small one, and we continue here. He 3x opened, but he was down to 27 bigs, so I was yeah pretty sure. I was pretty happy to get it in. Ace queen suited is good enough for that. He just decided to call, leaving pretty much pot behind, and yeah, he checked. So my three betting range in the cutoff does look pretty strong, and I felt like if he really just raise called, one thing he could have aces or kings to trap. I feel like mostly they would do it with just aces, because with kings and queens they are afraid to see the ace high board then. So it could just exclusively be aces really. Then again we block one ace, so he only has three aces left uh, in the deck, and I don't really see a lot of king X. Um, King Queen might be a thing sometimes if it's King Queen suited, but that is then down to three combinations because we block the Queen of Hearts. So yeah, not really a thing. And I think I just decide to ship it in here. We got the fold, so I think that also from at least nines and better would be a four bet shove here for sure pre-flop. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I probably had some I'd say some maybe Jack 10 suited or something like that. But I felt like the King High is way better for our range and he's not gonna have it too often. So yeah, that's why we got him on that. Yeah, here I think pretty standard spot. And in this case, then we shoved it in. He just had 2/3 of the pot left, roughly. A bit more, so it's like 70% of the pot. Just flop a gut shot with two overcards. We do have the backdoor flush draw as well, so I thought it's gonna be fine. I think he had pocket nines. Again, a bit confused why he just did not get it in pre-flop. He was down to 16 bigs, so he can just easily shove here. So I think the outcome would be the same. Uh, Yeah, I mean the nine of clubs even gave us some more outs then on the river. But yeah, I think nothing too spectacular with the chips in. I don't think we can really do anything else than this. We got moved to another table. Open King 10 offsuit. A bit, maybe a bit too. Let's see if the opening we can close this. We just need this one and we clear everything. Let's see. We were UTG plus 2. Yeah, you see, King 10 is out of my range here, so I was a bit too wide in that situation with the stack. Mm, let's see if I make it. I mean, we do have the 60 big blinds, yeah, but that's the same. Let's see if going smaller changes anything. Nope, it doesn't. So yeah, in this case, a bit too wide. But then again, we had three bigger stacks, but I was in position to them, so I felt pretty good. Here, probably don't really like my C bet. It hits the board, it hits the big blind range just so well, and I just have two overcards. If I had like a heart, I think the bet is a bit better. Decided then to give up the turn because it even made his range better. I would have bluffed the river because the ace of hearts is going to be in his like the an ace is more in our range, and we will do that with some ace highs. But if when he bets here, I expect him to have at least like some two, like some, yeah, a lot of two pairs really. Some ace three, ace four, ace seven, stuff like that. Maybe ace five he could have called. So we gave that one up. And yeah, again, in hindsight, I don't like my c bet there too much. Yeah, then we played nothing for another like 30 hands roughly. We get ace eight in diamonds here. Continue again here. There's a flush draw bought out, but because it's jack high and rather dry, I just decided to go for a smaller sizing here. We get the call. The turn now he on the turn now he decides to donk it. Um, I think he was a not so sure again. Uh, yeah, not sure about what kind of player he was. Here it really depends on if he's a rag or a recreational, because then with recreationals, I do see that happening, that they like try to go for instant value and they don't want to get a check behind with like a smaller flush or so, and therefore just go for the bet. And also the sizing looked like that. Um, but also they could do that sometimes if they have, for example, 10-8. If he has like 10-8 now with one diamond, or he has 6-4, he has 7-8 maybe with with one club, not a diamond, sorry. Queen 10 or something like that. So Queen 10 would be a thing here if he has it in spades or something like that. So I thought he's kind of trying to go for a smaller sizing because I would have gone bigger to see a free kind of a cheap river. And then I thought my ace high is going to be good, and I will call the turn now to see a river, and if it's a blank, I felt like it's a pretty yeah, that I can I can just, yeah, get him out, shove on the river, or get him to give up on the river. Now the queen of diamonds is not such thing. Mm, let me see, where did I have the hand? Where are we at the kings? Okay, I think I have to go further right. We didn't see that one. Ah, there it is. Okay. Um, yeah, so in that case, because it's a week ago, I wasn't so sure. I felt like if he block bets the turn, at first I thought, or now that I say it, I think the queen is a pretty good card for his range then. However, I decided to shove it and I got the fold. So I think in that situation, my idea was that he is gonna have a jack a lot of times, maybe a set with one club. So that would be a thing, that he has some jack 10, jack 8 with one club. So I thought if I call here on the turn, I will have a lot of draws with the queen, like the queen of clubs. And yeah, I thought I will go for it. He even got a really good price if you look at it. Uh, sorry. Yeah. So and again here I'm not sure. Like in hindsight now, if I talk about this, I feel like it wasn't really a good river shove. Also, you see he gets spot odds of 3.5 to 1, which is pretty huge. But at that time, I probably had him on some Jack X, Because that would also be like if we think about it again. So if he now decides to, because we will, if we don't have anything, we check behind a lot of turns. So going for a bet here on the turn does look like a Jack X move, right? So in hindsight, like now thinking about it again, it does make sense. Mm. Then here on the river, the queen. So then now, if you think about it again, if there's a queen on the river, probably because it's offsuit, like it's not in clubs, he thought it's gonna be good, and he continued with his Jack X. He maybe even had some two pair combos, so he was hoping, yeah, I can get a call from like Queen 10 now or something like that. Mm. The only kind of blocker we have is that we have an 8, so if it's like 10-8, for example, but it's not even the 8 of clubs, so yeah, as said, like in hindsight, not the best move in my opinion because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But yeah, I had my probably had my reasons, and I got the fold even though he got an awesome prize. But as you see, we win in that case a really huge pot, and yeah, sometimes you gotta have some. Yeah, again, maybe if because probably one of the other coaches will do a review of that, or maybe you can have a look at that hand here as well and yeah, tell me his thought process about this, just to be sure. Yeah, by the way, let me quickly just take a. So let's continue. Next hand here, 10-9 suited. We open that, we get one call. Again, we see bet here. I think on those monotone boards, the c bet is fine. We will get a lot of instant folds here. If we get one call, it's gonna be a bit hard. Here I don't like my check on the turn too much. I think and we should continue here mostly. He's gonna have some king x here a lot, and it's gonna be without a spade. And now even because he checks it, I think that's the case. Here on the river, I think I felt like that I'm gonna have some showdown value now, but that's not really the case. If I think about it, really, because I said his now checking down in the turn, it's really down to just too much king x. The only thing he might have is like 8-9, but then it's not going to be without a spade really. So it was just down to some king x, and then probably without a spade because he would then bet the turn, I'm sure, or even raise the flop. So yeah, in this case here, small mistake on my side. We got it correctly here. Okay, there there seems to be an alarm right now. Not sure if it's for long. Let's continue for now. We'll see. But yeah, anyway, here. I think I should go for a second barrel here. If he just calls, of course he can have the ace of spades, then he would just call a lot. But I think a lot of times the second barrel would do the thing here. Yeah, there's maybe a fire alarm. I'm not sure. Let me quickly check here. Just a second, guys. Okay, there seems to be a fire alarm. I will just quickly need to. It stopped for a few seconds, but then now it starts again. Okay, everything seems to be fine here, guys. I will continue for now. If you see me on fire, yeah, then it's gonna be too late. But yeah, we continue. Content is more important than than being not on fire. So, let's go to the next hand, and also, oh wow, we are only 160 hands left, and then we start with the final table. Yeah, we open Queen Jack in clubs. Yeah, of clubs here. I think pretty standard. Yeah, content is more important, right? Here, I'm sure. Yeah, standard C bet. We have a lot of backdoor equity here, so a lot of turn cards that are really nice for us. We will get a lot of instant folds here anyway, so I just think that it's fine. And as I said, there will be a lot of turn cards that are pretty nice. This is some kind. Okay, I hope they're just testing it because it's getting quite annoying. Uh, I just go for. Okay, we're gonna go down quickly. Stay tuned. Okay, so it's just a malfunction. Everything's fine. Good thing it's happening now and not during a normal gaming session. Where were we? So, yeah, I decided here to go for a second barrel. Um, I think it's pretty. You just have to keep ignoring the alarm for now. Uh, yeah, we just go for the second barrel here. We get another call, and yeah, I think the second barrel is fine because the nine does improve us. Of course, if it's a club, it would be better, but I still think that we, even if we just hit a queen or a jack on the river, we will be fine. And yeah, so we see the 10, which is of course awesome for us because yeah, we just made the nuts, and he bets half the pot, and now we have a pretty easy decision. We shove it in, we get the snap call, and get shown 10-9 of spades. So he called us here with the backdoor flush draw, 10 high, and yeah, some backdoor straight draw as well. Uh, Interesting. I'm not so sure if I would float that wide because we do have one overcard already, so that makes it pretty hard for him. Uh, turn call is then definitely fine, and yeah, the river is just like the magic card for us. But I think our two barrels are fine here. If we get floats from 10-9 here, if we do that if we get that in average, then uh, doing it with Queen Jack here is definitely fine. And yeah, of course, kind of a magic runout for us. We double up to over 500k, which was quite a lot at that time. So as you see, 65 big blinds. And yeah, we also were getting closer to the final table already. Yeah, so we just defend with fives here, pretty standard. I think versus C bet here into two people, it does look pretty strong, but I feel like the fives do still pretty well here. We also gonna have so much here on that board in the big blind, like it hits our range almost the best in the best way. Um, when he now bets though after calling the flop and then you get two checks, I do think he's pretty strong. So we just give it up and continue with the next hand. We have pocket sevens here, and because he has 7 big blinds, he has 25, we just decide to 3-bet chip it here for 25 blinds effectively. And yeah, it's a small one, but we can hold for another flip here, which is pretty nice. And yeah, we just continue here. Jack 9 suited. We flop third pair, and button versus big blind. I think we can continue here. Now that we've seen the other hand from last time, this can probably be also a check back quite some time because we don't really have, yeah, there's not a lot of turn cards that improve us, but uh, we will get a lot of instant folds here anyway. Now we see the turn. I don't really see a lot we can value target here. He might have called with some Queen X, and that would be like the only thing where he maybe still continues. But other than that, we will be behind a lot. So I do think we just have showdown equity here, showdown value, and therefore we check it. Then on the river with the third ace, after he checked it one more time. Yeah, I because he was also being pretty aggressive. I think that my jack is should be good here mostly, and that he would bet a lot of his king X already. He made the raise though, and yeah, that time I was thinking I was actually tanking for a bit because it seemed a bit strange to just check call the flop, check the turn, and then check raise the river. Was kind of a weird line. Mm, but Also because the raise was just so big, it kind of felt a bit weird. But then I decided to give it up because uh, I didn't even. I had like I need to win like every third time to make this call profitable, and I don't really see a lot of a lot of bluffs here. So he's gonna have a lot of kingers, and he can also have some ace x. He just calls the flop and then checks the turn, thinking I could maybe check one more time. And then when he makes the quads that uh, he's pretty sure that we will take a stab at it again. So his check does make sense there. But yeah, I gave it up, and it wasn't a big one either. Next hand, we have king nine suited again, standard open. There's a defend. He calls. We check. We continue rather big, even though he's not that deep stacked anymore. But we flop top pair on a really draw heavy board. He gets it in. We call. He has 6-7. Mike makes a straight, but we make our flush, so we're fine. And yeah, I think pretty standard spot. Let's see one more where we make a small one. Yeah, raise call. I don't think really anything to talk about. We can maybe look at the sizing. Because he was down to 19 bigs, I just made it 2.5x, uh, 2.7x instead of 3x. So we're sizing it down a bit. I could probably even go a bit lower, to be honest. But yeah, in that case, it's fine. Yeah, then we lost some hands. He was really active at some point, so we wanted to show be a bit aggressive here. So we three bet, he four bets it, and we fold our hand. Next hand, actually same thing. He four bets us again. Um, I think I should even call that. I should even fold that pre-flop. It's of course annoying. He four bets us two times, but he can also just have good hands, two good hands in a row. I decided to call, and on that board, of course, like it's really hard to continue for us. So we just gave it up. I think I have to call. I have to fold that hand pre-flop, and yeah, save the chips. Even though we're just seven-handed here, it just looks so strong. And of course, I was a bit annoyed maybe that he four bet us two times in a row, but as said, it might just be because he really had a hand. Here, same, yeah, we raise, get three bet from the hijack. We call, probably also not the best call, really. I think I was playing a bit too much here, to be honest. I think I need to fold that pre-flop. King 10 suited will not do that well in the long run here, out of position, even though he was really active, as you see, but still. By the way, now that we are through with most of the hands, again, let me tell you about this thing here. So we have our group course running. Just hit the link in the description below if you watch us through YouTube. If you watch us via Twitch, click on just one of the banners below me. You will get to our website. You can get in contact with one of our managers and yeah, find out everything about this course. Every second Tuesday. So I had it 2 days ago. I will have it in 2 weeks again. We have our trial lesson where I talk about this group course as well and explain everything. So feel free to join that. It should be on YouTube anyway, so you can look that one up. And yeah, so feel free to join for that group course. It includes courses about poker math, about strategy for MTTs, about the software. So, for example, the holder manager we're using for the Equilab, how to use that. We have simple post-flop, simple Nash. So we will talk about simple Nash really because that one is also for free. So Equilab and simple Nash are programs that don't cost anything, so you can just get them for free, which I think is a pretty nice feature. Mm, and yeah, so feel free to just go there. Also, leave us a subscription on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitch if you want to. And yeah, don't miss out on any of our content. Also, if you would like you now see how I do the analyzing stuff, how I work with the program. So if you want to, yeah, have that experience with me as well, You can get me for individual coachings if you have problems in certain situations, if you're not good in three bet pots, if you are having problems playing blind versus blind or the big blind in general. Hit me up or hit one of our managers up, and we can get in contact for some individual coachings if you want to. But let's continue now. UTG Open, Ace 9 suited, definitely strong enough for it flat here. We could even think about three betting that sometimes, but he's in first position, so I think flatting is fine. On that board, if he continue, he should continue with a lot of his range. So I think we can float here pretty well. It doesn't make sense too much for us to raise here, because what will we really show here, or what are we how's that word called? Mm, yeah, not sure right now. Sorry, guys. But yeah, what are we really wrapping? That's exactly what are we wrapping here. So it's really down to seven or some good flush draw. And as we're not blocking anything really here for that, we just float. And versus the second, because it's also a big one, we just give it up. And yeah, so you see, we're even down to 15 bigs then. I'm not completely sure how far in we were at that time, but anyway, so down to 13 bigs, you see what it will come to 13 bigs. Pretty easy three bet shoving spot. We even get the cold call here, and our jacks are good versus ace queen. So again, you see we did win quite a few flips here, and that's definitely important to do to win a tournament in the end. Sevens here, we just flat them. There it's pretty close. We just have 20, 27, 25 big blinds in that situation. I would fold like deuces, threes, fours, fives for sure. Sixes would be, I think, on the edge really. Um, but I think with sevens, we do have some playability outside of flopping a set. So flatting them should be fine. Position wise, again, maybe also then a bit close. Actually, we can have a short look. So we have 25 bigs. We are eight-handed, so he's UTG plus one, and yeah, we defend from middle position. So in this case, even sevens would even be three bet shove for value. Let's see if this. Yeah, and here it would be. So yeah, it's close. Like we have 25 big blinds, so we're like in the middle of it for 20 bigs. So if you're at 20 bigs, we should three bet jam it, and with 30 bigs we can defend it here. With 30 bigs, and that would also be a call versus a squeeze. So yeah, I think sevens is fine here. We get two more calls, and again we do hit pretty perfectly. Top set on a really wet board, and position number one just or small blind, big blind actually, big blind just open shoves here with 2/3 of the pot roughly. We get the flat call from the big stack, and yeah, nothing else for me to do than just jam. And yeah, the turn is really nice because both of them just had a flush draw, plus he also had the open ender. So the turn just crushed both their dreams. And we win a big one, as you see, from 400k at the end up to almost a million. So we more than doubled our stack here, and we're up to 60 bigs at that time. Yeah, he's still continuing being pretty active. Because it was him and you saw him four betting me a few times, I'd rather wanted to go for a bit more like small ball kind of approach. So I just decided to. Oh, sorry, guys. So here I just decided to flat my ace queen suited and to just play it versus him in a smaller way to not blow up the pot too much. Um, we get a check from him here on ace 6-4 though, and in that case there's a lot of turns we don't really want to see, so I decide to go for a c-bet, a rather big one. He calls us, then we check. I bet again 2/3 of the pot, and we get the fold. Mm, yeah, I think pretty standard. Of course, a lot of times we can three bet ace queen here, but because it was him and he's been really aggro, I think I'm better off just calling it here. So then you see we're not really playing a lot, and we have king queen here. We flat versus the UTG open, or in that case we're seven-handed, so UTG +2. We call once here. Ace 5 board. We have the king of diamonds, which is good because we have then the backdoor flush draw. We also have a backdoor straight draw, and king high might be good on those boards, or at least we have a good play, still some good playability here. Now we have the deuce of hearts and the I wasn't so sure here. I think did I call or fold? Yeah, I called. And he had quads. So I think like the king of hearts is like the worst card really for us, because then yeah, we kind of have to call. We're like at the also sizing wise, we just need to be right 30% of the time. And I do believe because we also have the queen of hearts, I'm happy I didn't go for any bluff here. With the queen of hearts, we certainly could do that. But then again, we should not have. If like queen jack and hearts, we will not call that too often, I think. Um, but yeah, we just called, and I don't think he would. So if he just has trips, I think he continues on the turn. So therefore, I felt like this is a weird bluff, some kind of a bluff approach. I also didn't see too many hearts, like Jack 10 of hearts. It's basically the only Jack 10, maybe Jack 9 of hearts or 10-9 of hearts. So that's like three combinations he could open from there, but that's about it. So I think the call is just fine. And yeah, I mean, we ran into quads, but I think we kind of lost the minimum, to be honest here. Now we have queen 8 of hearts. And because he was deep, we decide to three bet it. But when he four bets, especially if they do it for the first time, I think that was the first time they four bet, and it's just an $11 tournament, so I kind of give them quite some credit. We get a pretty good price here to just call, but then we have to call 150K. So then there's almost like more than a third of our pot involved. The pot is 600K high. We just have 470 back, and we need to hit really good. And his range is really capped here. I don't see him really having a four bet bluff here. So yeah, we just give it up. And then we have King 10 and diamonds. First thing if I remember correctly, I was a bit surprised. He just went for the 2.5x raise, which is so small, especially out of position. So he's giving us an awesome price. And yeah, of course, I called here. King 10 suited in position plays really nicely, in my opinion. He goes for the small c bet. We just call. I just wanted to make sure, like I just called. We can a lot of times also try to get it in with like 30 bigs. Um, or at that case, was it even 30 still? Yeah, or after the raising, it's 22. So on the flop, we have like 20. I know with that, it's 26 big blinds here. We could try to get it just get it in with top pair, I think. But his really small three bet concerned me a bit. Now I see more and more people going for really small three bets with really strong hands. So yeah, I decided to just call. And yeah, turn. Um, Also maybe not the best turn for us, but I still think also sizing wise, it kind of looked a bit weird. We do have almost just pot behind, and if he has like aces or kings, I do feel like that he would just get it in on the turn because there's just so much draws out there. And here we still get a really nice price. As you see, 3.3 to 1 really. So even if we just have the flush draw, maybe with an open end or so, we get an awesome price. And I mean, even just the flush draw is almost good enough. So we have like 18% with a flush draw. So I think did look a bit weird. I, however, decided to call. We have the 8 of clubs then here. And now he checks. Um, yeah, I checked it behind. I didn't really see any hand we would get called from where we are ahead. And everything where we are ahead, he's not going to call us. And I also really kind of wanted to see what he went with. And we see he had ace-7 on hearts. So the complete bluff with, I mean, he picked up a gut shot on the turn, but made sense then sizing wise in hindsight. So I directly gave him a note that he's like, uh, he has some weird sizings because like I feel like 2.5x with even if it's versus 30 bigs, I think that's way too low. So SD's going like 3.5x or something like that. But I think he was a recreational player, so that's maybe a thing that he yeah, is not sure if he can really pull the trigger here. But yeah, we won a really nice one here again. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, I think we went, I don't know if that's already final 2 or final 3 tables, but yeah, it was getting closer and closer. We opened Queen 8 suited out of 43 bigs, pretty standard, I'd say. And as you see, I'm c-betting a lot here, quite a lot. We get the call. Again, I do see quite some floating here. We kind of block with the queen. We kind of block some draws though. So not so sure about my turn c-bet. Uh, if we have, like as I said, with the queen, we do block some draws, but if it just has like some ace x, I think we get the fold with the second barrel. And as you've seen a few times, the second barrel is a really good thing a lot of times. And also, like yeah, the 3 of clubs doesn't really improve his range too much. However, we then see the ace of hearts, and the ace is really nice for us. I would go for a second barrel with ace high quite often, especially if we have maybe with the ace of clubs or so. So I decided to go for a third bet. Again here, maybe then maybe can have a second opinion on that. Let me just take a screen of that hand so I can look it up and talk about it with someone else again. Where it is. And yeah, if you have any opinion here, let me know about that hand as well. If you think that play is fine, or if I should have gone for something else. Always happy to see some reviews from you guys. However, as said, we did go for the third barrel here. We got the fold. Mm, again, like not. I mean, now and then it's good now if on the river I think with the queen because we block the straight, so he can't. He will have the street fewer times now, and therefore I think the river bet is fine. On the turn though, not 100% sure. But like if we think about our range, will also continue like with, yeah, we will have a lot of ace X there as well. So he probably had a 10, I'd say, the way he went for the second call, but not completely sure. We continue. So open 6-5 suited here. We just flop the gut shot. Here again, Nah, according to my range, I think the c-bet is fine with that particular hand. Probably can check this one behind or actually just give it up because we just don't have anything here. Now on the turn, I think I need to continue actually. However, I check it behind. His calling range, there will be a lot of 10x and 8x, so I don't really think I will get him to fold that much. Also, some flushes can be in there, so that's why we just gave it up. I think we can already give it up on the flop after not hitting anything. Yeah, here, pretty easy, I'd say. He has 10 big blinds only. We have king high, we'll be fine mostly. However, we run into a dominating hand even with ace 8. Flop is fine, but then he hits the 2 out of his last 3 aces to double up. But yeah, all fine, I'd say. We have queen jack suited here. And yeah, pretty easy defend. Don't think 3-betting is really necessary here. We check it, he checks it as well. We pick up the queen on the turn. So we decide to bet it. We get the call. He's going to call us with a lot of spades, of course. Um, I think if he has two overs to the board on the flop, he will c-bet mostly. So I did not put him on too many queen X really. Like if he has king queen, ace queen, and queen jack, I think he's going to c-bet a lot of times. So, oh yeah, in this case, because I felt like he's going to have so many draws really, it doesn't make sense for me to bet here because I will not get anything he has here really is gonna fall. He has here really should have um, continued on the flop. Also stuff like King Jack or Jack 8, he would c bet here. We block with a Jack those combinations pretty well. The turn, of course, he could. I think he could just float if he gets the nut flush there, but then again, I think he would c bet that on the flop because with the nut flush, you want to try to get some chips in there. And yeah, I thought I will check, and then if he bets, pretty much call all the time. Again, if he has, I don't think he's gonna have like the way the nut flush should have played would be with a c bet on the flop, also with all the overcards. So I kind of put him on some ace X, really with probably the ace of spades or maybe then the king of spades. So I think I pretty much snap called, and he just had ace 4. So I think I kind of baited him into that pretty nicely by checking the river. And yeah, won a big one here. And yeah, we continue. So we find queens here, get the 3 and a bit, 3.2x 3-bet. And yeah, we just 4-betted. I think that's fine. Also sizing wise, 2.5, roughly 2.5x is fine, I think, for a 4-bet. Yeah, we get the fold. We'll definitely take that. Yeah, he also pretty standard. He's down to 10 bigs, so king queen is fine. And yeah, we got pretty lucky on that one. He outflopped us really nicely, and then we hit perfect on turn and river. It was just a 20 big blind pot, or 23 with the antes and stuff and the blinds. But still, we definitely take that one. And winning those this late in the tournament is just so nice. And yeah, as you see, I think that should be the final table bubble already because as you see, we are at 5 players on this table, maybe the other one at 6, so we're still with 11 players, but definitely really close to the final table. So the ranges get wider. And yeah, we are, as you see, the big stack here, pretty close to this guy here, but still, I think we were chip leading at that time, if I'm not mistaken. So he checked, we check it, and then I think he just showed quite some weakness here, so we just decided to go for it on the turn. And again, pretty big sizing here. We would do that with all our value hands, and we can still have all the 10x here. Um, the hand in this case doesn't really matter too much, in my opinion. It's kind of good that we have like at least the 8 to block some draws here. But other than that, I just kind of really just go with my range, what we can have here. And yeah, however he calls, mm, I think his button range is so wide, so he can have some fives, some sixes, mostly really sixes, because he would continue if he hit something, I'm sure. Mostly, especially like five-handed, where hitting a pair gets more valuable, I feel like. So I think I went for another barrel, and we got the fold here. So really, like the hand in this case did not really matter to me, and if I remember correctly. I was just, uh, yeah, I was just completely playing my range, and I feel like this board is way better for my range than for the button range. So yeah, I just went with it, and it worked out. Now we have king queen suited here. Can be three betted a few times, but out of position, I think just flatting is fine. He continues rather big for the board. So like 60, he went for 60, 65%, two-thirds roughly. I called here because I have two overcards and the backdoor flush draw, which I think is a really nice float here to go for. Jack of Hearts is then a really nice card for me. We do get the free card on the river, and yeah, then we hit our flush. That's exactly why we floated on the flop. And yeah, then I went pretty big. Um, I did it in this case because in the last time he bluffed us, he went for almost the same sizing. So I thought, nice, I just go for the same sizing. He's gonna think, oh, I did that too, so it's a bluff. Uh, could have probably even went for a bit more, because he kind of has to call with the 7 here. He can't really fold it. But yeah, I think, yeah, pretty standard. We call once, of course, in the turn. We're not going to give up with his, versus the second barrel with still the overcard and the flush draw. And yeah, then we just get hit the river, and yeah, bink another nice one, as you see, up to 90 bigs, and we were pretty much steamrolling the table from then on. And here then I just because as you see, my chip stack is just so huge at that point. He's already 40 bigs behind me. So I decided just to be really aggressive and just continue a lot. And as you see, like a lot of times the second barrel just worked, so I just kept on pushing. Really nice here, I think, to have the blocker, also the 8 to kind of block some floats he could go for, or some outs. We checked it behind here though. If I continue with some king X, that's a pretty nice run out then for me with the king on the river. And yeah, I think I went for a small bet this time, and I got the fold again. So I do think he would bet on the river sometimes with the queen. So I think he was on quite a either just a maybe 4-5, 5-6, some gut shot, maybe even a flush draw or so, but a weaker one. So I think the bluff is fine here, and it gets all the trash out of here anyway, and I think I will still get some threes or seven, or mostly all of the threes and sevens to fold because the runout is just so annoying for him. Yeah, we can. Let's see. Did anything happen here? Yeah, nothing important here. So that's, for example, finally a flop where we not continue because it just hits his range so much. But all in all, okay, here we fold. Same here. We raise and take it. I mean, we'll just go through the last hands because we're almost done here before we reach the final table. Yeah, so there you see, I think raise calling here pre A7 suited has enough playability there. Open shove, we fold that. Here versus 16 bigs, we just get it in 10-5. We even folded. Here taking it with a C bet. And I think then, yeah, Oh yeah, we come to the last hand before the final table. So let me here already jump to the start. And it's a bit of a spoiler, of course, because you know what's gonna happen. But yeah, interesting here. So he limped to us, and that was the guy that has been four betting us quite a lot. So he's been, yeah, he's been a pretty good player in my opinion. And yeah, he limps to us. We just check it behind with nine deuce. We flop second pair. He's betting into us. So he can have, because he limps from the small blind, I think he limp shoved on us two or three times, if I'm not mistaken. But he can have every jack, of course, a lot of nines. I think every pair he's going to bet, and a lot of draws he's going to bet as well. But we hit second pair, so we definitely going to call once. Turn is, of course, really nice for us. We hit the two pair, and it's already also like a bit hidden. Uh, and yeah, that was pretty nice. So, of course, there's the flush out there as well. Um, and as I said, sorry guys, as I said, he would probably just bet a lot of his draws, so there might also be some flush draws in there. But I think that he would have raised it on the turn most of the times. And yeah, therefore I was pretty sure that I should be good. He now has, as you see, a bit more than pot left. Checked it, and I just decided to get to ship it in. Um, I thought so. As first, of course, I was pretty sure he does not have a flush. The way he played it, I think also with the flush draw you would check raise a lot, or try to check raise the flop a lot of times. I think. Um, so I felt like he's gonna be pretty much down to some Jack X calling the turn there, maybe some Jack with with like the ten of hearts or the Queen of Hearts, King of Hearts, maybe even Ace Jack with the Ace of Hearts, for example. So basically, yeah, a lot of Jack X combos and maybe stuff like 8-7, even 10-8 or so. That could be a thing. Queen 10 could have been possible, maybe without a heart, Queen 10 without a heart, or Queen 10 with one heart. Um, but I do think he would have gone for value bet than a river because we will check behind so much uh, after betting the turn. So yeah, as said, I do think, like, I think I put him, not sure if I said it on the stream, I think I did, kind of put him on some Jack X and was just hoping for a call. And he actually made the call, had Jack 10. And I think because of the 10, he's blocking quite a bit, and also having no hearts, we can have a lot of the flush draws. But yeah, he made the call, which was pretty nice for us because that was then the final table. And yeah, let me now open all the final table hands. As you see, it's still a lot. We have 263 more hands to go, so I played quite a lot of hands, as you see. But yeah, here we are playing on the final table. And don't worry, we are nine-handed. The one guy was just sitting out the first hand because he came in from the other table. And yeah, oh no, I don't want to have that. Okay, let me try it again. I want to see all the. Yeah, that's way better. But I think we will go mostly to every hand. And yeah, as you see, for me, the final table started really nicely. We have one guy with 50 bigs, one guy with 67. I'm on 104 big blinds on the final table. But then we have a lot of players around 20 big blinds, one guy with 30. So that was, yeah, it was kind of hard to play. I mean, we could just wait until we have a hand. We don't really have to show too much aggression here, in my opinion. Okay. Don't know why it has problems showing the 500 hands before that, but now it has some. Okay, so wait, we're gonna go through this, like just going through this. I think that should be working. Okay, yeah. So we just go through all the hands. Seeing here, three bet, And yeah, that's already the first one I wanted to have a look at with you guys. I think I had that spot quite some times, and I'm pretty sure that ace queen was a fold there. So let's calculate it. And before, I mean, it does look good, but before we do that, let's just look up our ranges. So I don't think I would three bet. With my stack, I would probably start with sevens. That does look fine by me. A few of probably also because of the position, not really all of the ace X suited. That does look fine, I think. And yeah, then let's look at his shoving range. I'm really sure he's not gonna go for that in that situation. I mean, he's fourth in chips versus the a three bet from early position from the chip leader. So I really doubt he's gonna do it with anything worse than this. And yeah, in that case, let's have a look again. Even tens, I think, are really close. So, and as you see, like ace queen offsuit is a really clear fold. So I'm, yeah, pretty happy. I folded here. I think three betting pre is fine to just because I mean, in this case, he had 12 big blinds, so ace queen then is too strong. And if we then get some action here, I think it's just so clear that this is really strong. So yeah, we folded that one, and I think we did well here. So definitely not gonna miss out. Yeah, I think we called here once, but then sure gave it up. We find pocket jacks here, three bet them. Of course, we were three betting a bit more than usual because of our stack, and especially versus these three here, or maybe even him. So those four players that have like 30 bigs and more, being the mid stacks, I think it's definitely a good thing. That's why we're also folding Queen Nine suited now here because those are the shortest stacks, and I don't really need to go for it here. Of course, we hate our lives and we see the flop then, but all in all, uh, the reason why I'm going through all the hands now is to not miss out on any bust out here for you guys. And a good thing also we get quite some through because yeah, if he's in a big blind, is not going to play too many hands versus us, or at least adjusting his range a little bit, I think. And yeah, so as said, and as you see, we're going a bit wider with our openings. Here we had the first all in, and what was also really funny, it took so long, I think, until the first one busted because the all in player just uh the all in player just doubled up, I think, the first 5 or 6 times until the first one busted. We can see that. I mean, I'm clicking through every hand, so you guys gonna see that. Here versus the three bet, we also just gonna give it up. And yeah, quite some action here. So he's chipping up a bit more there. I could think about three betting this. I think that's a pretty nice hand for three betting. On that board, we just give it up then, though. This time, then I went for the three bet. We got the call. I check it behind here for pot control now. As you see, the pot is already 600k big. He has a million chips behind, so like 1.8, 1.9 his stack to pot ratio. Sorry. And I don't want to. I think I'm fine with not blowing the pot up too much. If he traps us in any way, then we don't need to invest too many chips here. The king, however, is I think a pretty good turn because then he's gonna hit something a lot. Queen Jack, of course, would be horror for us, but anything else like some King Queen, King Jack or so, he's pretty much tempted to call. That's why we also went for this small sizing. He checks it, and now we decide to rip it in. And only really, yeah, if he has Queen Jack, then it would be hard, but anything else. I think, though, I made a small mistake here by going all in. I think if I go for a small bet, it would do the same thing. Um, like we really just get called by Queen Jack, some sets or better hands. So I think that was a mistake. I think I should go for a small bet here, maybe like make it look like a blocking bet, doing 200, 250k again, because then he might be tempted to call me with some King X he definitely gonna have in his range here. So yeah, I would definitely change that play, making it a small bet, because then if he shoves it, we can easily fold, and now we don't have any way of folding this hand. Uh, so yeah, I would probably change that. It went well for us anyhow, but I think a small bet does the trick here more often, and we might even get some more value here. Okay, next hand up. Let's see if anything happens there. Raise, call, and all in. So King Jack versus eights. See, second time the all-in player doubled. Versus early position open, we also fold those medium aces. Sometimes I think it's fine. And you see we also get a lot of folds, which I really like. There we have a raise and an all-in. And yeah, again, the all-in player doubled. So that's three now. Nothing spectacular here. Here we have the next all-in. King Jack versus nines. Again, number four, all-in player doubled. Yeah, here I think, yeah, 3.5x is just fine with his stack. If he's lower, we can go a bit lower, but I think we should just really open raise every hand, blind versus blind. He's currently, I mean, look at the stacks. I have 100 bigs, and all the other guys are within 20 bigs. So he's really, he is his, yeah, he's locked to do anything. There are still five players having less chips than him, so there's no need for him unless he has like aces or kings or queens, like to get into a big pot with me. Yeah, as you see, a lot of raise and take it here. We fold here. I think there's going to be so much trapping here when they call from the blind. And as you see, he did that. But again, number five now, all-in player doubles up. Uh, as you see, it happened a lot until the first player busted. So let's see. Yeah, we have Jack 3 here. We check it. Yeah, I called the turn. I mean, pretty obvious. He, it, he's gonna have a good hand. A lot of yeah, I know. Remember that hand? I think he's gonna have a good hand a lot of times by just flatting here pre-flop and then betting the turn. But we do have the flush draw. At least I have. If he just goes for some kind of draws, even though we block quite a lot of them, then we have the three. And yeah, now we hit second pair on the river. And I think now here I again made a rather big mistake even. I shoved the river, hitting two pair here. If I think about it in hindsight, I'm not sure if he would how many like king X, like king queen or ace king maybe he could just flat just because of the stack sizes, and he was second at that time I think. So he needed to he wanted to just flat is stuff like ace king just to not blow up the pot too much versus the chip leader, I think. So he could have ace king in his range. Then same goes for king queen, but that's like really the hands that I'm beating, and I don't think I will get if I raise here. I'm not sure if they even call me. Other than that, he's gonna have king 10, queen, maybe queen 9 could be a thing, but probably not actually. But yeah, then eights, tens, threes, of course, it's just one combination. But yeah, I shoved it. He called me off and had pocket eights, so There, I lost a pretty big one, as you see. Again, in hindsight, I think I just call here because I don't really get calls from worse hands. King, queen, and ace king is like the only thing where he might call, but then he's not gonna risk it, I think, because we do look pretty strong here, that he just calls off with top pair. So yeah, um, quite a mistake from my side. Good thing is I was still chip leading with 76 bigs. However, he was up to 50 and he was being somewhat aggressive, so not the best thing for him to have chips. And here in the sixth attempt now, finally, we lose the first player here in ninth place. And as you see, he came even closer, so only 18 bigs now. Then we have the 3x open and the next all-in. Queens versus ace king. So again, the all-in player doubling up. Then we have the next one, and again, the all-in player doubling up. Here, I think looks is fine. He still has two players with less chips than him. He has still been opening quite a bit, as you see also from his stats. Yeah, then we have ace king here, pretty easy ISO shove into queen jack. And as you see in this case, we got rivered for once. I mean, he had quite some outs, but still annoying to lose this pot. Let's see, how many outs did he have? So three kings, two queens, and four eights, right? Yeah, jack makes me straight, so it's the two queens, three kings, and so it's nine outs. Yeah, so he had like 20% on the turn then. But yeah, I mean, we sucked out earlier ones and we won so many flips, so let's not complain too much. Okay, let's see what we have here. Yeah, looks pretty fine. Nothing too important here. Oh yeah, there we have an all-in. And Queen 10 wins it versus Ace Jacks, Ace 7, so we do lose the next player in 8th place. Now we have Ace 4. We call here. Oh yeah, I think that one is also interesting. Yeah, we flop top pair, so we just call, and he checks the turn behind, and even checks the river behind. So we kind of lost the minimum here. I'm not sure why he starts checking the turn behind because exclusively 8-9 gets there. And yeah, I mean, if we have 10-7, 10-6, that's going to happen sometimes, but that's just not a lot of our range. So yeah, I think we can be lucky that he started checking behind here. Also that he checks behind the river now. Um, that we kind of lost the minimum here. So we lost just like 6 big blinds with top pair versus top pair. Uh, so I can't really complain here. Yeah, we don't have a lot here. Deuces, raise and take it. There we have the next all-in and a call. And again, all-in player wins that one. We even get a walk here sometimes. There's the next all-in and call. And again, shorter player wins it. And here just gets checked through. I don't know why he didn't continue with ace king here on any street, but yeah. And yeah, as you see, we haven't been that aggressive really throughout the tournament then. There might have been like some shallow spots that we could have taken as three bets, but I think with the chip stacks we're having, we did not need to win those smaller ones all the time, so we could take our spots more precisely. So something as well like here, blind versus blind. Now he just min opens and we shove it into 14 bigs. Um, yeah, then here going for the 3.5x versus he was second place at that time. By the way, did I? Is there any hand missing? Okay, no, we just stole quite a bit. Sorry, guys, I just didn't want to. Okay, is there something? Okay, did we see that bust out? Yeah, that's sometimes it's a bit much of the for the data. Yeah, now we just even have a small hanger here. I hope we'll get back here. Okay, let me just quickly close a few things. Looks like the yeah. Let me open that up again and just go for a few less hands here. That was that hand. We saw that one. We saw the ace king hand. We saw that for sure. Nothing happened. Let's go from that one again. So we have a few hands less, and then it should be working a bit better. Because I think we missed out on the one bust out, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, let's make sure. Okay, we didn't see some of those hands here. Yeah, for example, that one here. Mm, so yeah, we go here. Ace nine. He went for three barrels. We or I opted then to fold on the river. I think that's fine. I think we can already fold the turn because if we think we're not good here, then we can save those 3.5 big blinds here as well. But I don't think he would really go for three barrels here with anything worse than, yeah, definitely a better ace here. Don't really see him doing that with a pure bluff, so I think it's fine to fold that. Yeah, here versus 18 bigs, a bit wide probably, but we just decide to go for our fold equity here and for the ICM pressure they're having. And yeah, I think it looks a bit better than the first time we have aces, and we even get a UTG open here, but unfortunately he decides to fold it already. And yeah, as you see, a lot of raise and take it. Here he just opened 4x, so we give it up. And same here into 16 big blinds with the ICM pressure because there were two 11 big blind stacks, one 8 big blind stack. So they couldn't really call a lot here. And even if we lose the pot, we still have 40 bigs if he wakes up with a monster. So I felt like that's a pretty nice situation for us. And then here, yeah, the short stacked player got it in with Queen Jack versus Ace 9. Did he? He didn't. I'm surprised he even open raise. I think it's to have some fold equity if for some reason three players suddenly decide to go for it. But yeah, another double up as you see. And still a lot of raise and take it. There we see another raise and all in. Oh yeah, we've been at that point. Okay. But we missed out on some hands for sure. Okay, there we have the ace forehand. Yeah, it did skip on a few hands. I'm sorry, guys. But I think we're back on track now. So yeah, we had the deuces hand where we got the raise through. We had the ace king hand as well. Okay, let me get on track here. Maybe we can, because then I can just open up a few hands less all the time. Yeah, okay, there is, no. Okay, I'm at the 7 deuce hand again, so at least I'm at the right point now. Really sorry guys that the holder manager does have its small problems. By the way, if you look at the time, it was already 4 a.m. at that time. So it's been a long evening. Okay, there is no bust out. Okay, we do see another. I mean, he should be able to go for that hands, right? Okay, there it is, the bust out finally. We got in ace king versus kings at that point. Yeah, pretty standard. Sick cooler, also that he hits his ace there, his three outer, and we lose another player, so we're down to 6 now. As you see, we're second place with 52 bigs. There's one guy with 66 big blinds and 3 shorter stacks and one who's already also in a quite good position. Annoying for us though is that, as you see, both of those players were on our left, so we could expect to get a lot of 3 bets, and yeah, it wouldn't be that easy to get the blinds. We flopped the flush draw, king high flush draw, so we continue here. Turn card is not really good for us to continue. And yeah, on the river, no, I mean we're gonna split almost all the time, and if we don't, he has a 10, so we don't need to try to push him out of the pot here. You see he had Jack 8 suited, so we even got lucky that we got the split on the river. Mm, but yeah, I think pretty standard raise all in fold. Same here. Got some action here, and then he just, as you see, he called the flop c-bet for a third of his stack, but then folded to a blank turn. Yeah, quite some action here. Three-way all in raise, re-raise all in, call, because I think it was it, yeah, he raised for 130k, so he could not do nothing than just calling anymore. And then he folded. However, it was ace king, so the short stack were able to double up. Ace queen took the other pot though, and yeah, we continue with a lot of raise and taking. Yeah, here's at least finally like a spot again where we decide to 3-bet. I think we can 3-bet a bit lower, but with 22 big blinds, I think 3x is okay. Like 2.5x is probably the better play. And yeah, we see a lot of action here then, but for some reason then it get checked through, and I'm not sure why he didn't 4-bet jam this, but yeah, he takes the pot anyway. Same here. And it's okay, there we have another call and all in. And yeah, let's have a look again. So he jammed for 16 bigs and he snapped him off. The thing is that he's down to 10, so he has 10 big blinds, he's last in stack, and I think for that reason that Queen 8 is fine, but actually I want to see that also with the ICM. Shit, which hand did we have there? King 3, so where's our King 3? Okay, I can see it. So we had that hand. There it is. Finally. So because we can also put ourselves in his situation with, see, queen, and he just gets the push. 6 players left. And as you see, oh, by the way, we should go for definitely something else. So let's just take this one here. Yeah, let's. I don't think because he's last anyway, so he will shove a bit wider. So I think we can get rid of those hands. Yeah, so maybe. Yeah, let's go with this probably. And yeah, then Queen 8 suited does not look good anymore really. So yeah, not a good call here in that situation, but he went in. I mean, even did get it in as a favorite. I think if it's not the final table, I would still call, but if with it being the final table, it yeah does not look. I mean, it does look a bit too wide, but worked out here. So yeah, we continue. Yeah, he just then shoved his 6 big blinds, but our hand definitely not good enough. If it's a bounty, of course, we snap it, but yeah, then here we do get a donk bet from the big blind suddenly. However, we flop second pair. We are pretty well ahead of our range here with of our button range from with Queen Jack suited. And yeah, we call here. The turn is pretty nice. Now he checks it, and I'm not sure in hindsight if we should maybe bet here. It kind of looks like a lot that he wants to put in put in some chips. After checking the turn, like on the flop, I think he can have a lot of king X there. But after checking the turn, that doesn't really change a lot for his king X. It feels like that he's more on some draws. So maybe Jack 10 and spades not possible. So maybe Jack 10 and hearts. Um, Ace 10 maybe in hearts or spades possible, but he would probably squeeze that. So maybe like 10-9 in hearts with a gut shot or so. But yeah, that's basically it. Um, yeah, on the river, think we have enough showdown value, but I don't think we will get a lot of calls here from worse hands. So we decide to check it back, and he indeed had Jack 10 for the open-ended straight and flush draw. But we pick up another nice pot here, which also put us back in the lead. Again, we can't call that shove. That one gets through as well. Then we find queens and do not get any customers. And here we have the all-in ace queen versus king queen. Ace queen doubles up again. Oh yeah, we've seen that hands too, so we kind of skipped some, but now it should be fine, guys. So again, sorry that we had this skipping there. Yeah, min raise or bet min raise, pretty standard. Then raise fold here. Ah, okay, yeah. So we saw those hands, so I can skip them. I think we have. Yeah, we didn't see that one. Yeah, I think checking back here is fine. I would do that with some of my ace X as well. I think uh, being five-handed versus the chip leader in this case, it's fine to go for the small bowl approach again. So just checking it back here for pot control. Then we hit the turn pretty nicely. He's not gonna have too many ace X hands because he would bet them on the turn, in my opinion. However, I do check back because I think I wasn't so sure. I think we could go for a small c bet for a small value, but on the river because he's gonna have some 10x here, some worse 10x then of course in that case. Um, so yeah, maybe even some in this case like king queen high would have been like the perfect bluff catcher really. So probably missed out on one bet here, but yeah, I think it's fine. As said, we don't want to blow up the pot too much, so I think checking it back is fine there. Yeah, as you see, also not too much action here. Easy fold versus the 21 big blind shove. Again here, we get the min raise. He did that quite a lot of times, as you saw already. Then we have some three-way action here. Also nice spot here. Yeah, also interesting, really, really interesting way here. I think our three bet is fine. We can maybe, I think the size is also because the effective stack here has 11 big blinds, so we don't go too big. Um, yeah, as you see, it's 480. We just go 3.5 instead of putting like we could have gone for normally we would go for like 4.5. So I just went for 3.5 because of the stack sizes. And yeah, he flats for 2/3 of his stack and shoves it in with his gut shot. Of course, we can just never fold here, getting 5.5 to 1 roughly. Even if he has a king, if he shows it to us, we gonna have almost 20%. I think we will have the right price here. If we think about the only three aces times four would be 12% plus some backdoor outs that we have. So we would be even on calling that even if he shows us a king. So yeah, not sure what this was about here, but that meant that we were down to four players. So really nice, and yeah, he's been showing also some raising skills here. And then into 13 big blinds, any ace, even most of my kings, I would just shove. And here, same way again. So he's the bigger stack. We don't need to clash here really. So I just go for checking back quite often here, and Queen High will do fairly good here. I think we just bet here to get rid of all his crap that might pick up some pair on the river to destroy our Queen High, and then I'm just happy to take the 5 big blind pot here. And same again. So here now on the other, like during the way to the final table, you've seen me like c betting a lot. And yeah, now you see that I do go for more check behinds, just again to keep it small. Don't need to get check raised here and then lose pot, and every pot here is so important now at the final table. So I think I can go for that. And then if they check for the second time, I can be even more sure I'm good. So go for smaller bets and just take it a lot of times. Here we had the all-in and call, and yeah, ace four sucked out on ace queen here, hitting his open ender he got on the flop, and also uh, dodging the flush. So then you saw it's what's getting a bit more even. Here I think chip EV wise 6-5 is probably a fold, but other than that, I think then we can just take a stab on the flop. And I also think a lot of king X and a lot of jack X combos will just shove on the flop, so he's not gonna have too many of them, and we can take it just with one bet. Oh yeah, I definitely want to have a look at this hand here. So, um, at first I thought it's a completely clear shove in my opinion. Uh, the, oh wow, it's that close even. Okay. Let's see what he's opening. Okay, to be honest, I'm really sure we have four-handed. He's definitely gonna open more here. I'd say like every ace really. Kind of surprised. This is so tight. He's definitely gonna open more. Okay. Uh, yeah, something like that. And yeah, I would definitely not push this white. It's all the weaker ace X. Yeah, so maybe like this. Let's see. Okay, actually, okay. Not sure if I made a mistake. I think it's fine. Um, but yeah, so basically it's definitely fine. So it's really small, and as you see, if you put some EV difference in there, because it's everything is plus EV because he needs to fold so much according to ICM, but it's not that much. But again, it's fine. Yeah, because I decided like he's gonna open so much and he needs to fold almost everything here. So I just pushed it in, and as you see, there's one 10 BB stack, and the jumps, I think fourth place was $700 into 1.4. Oh no, it was 1.1 into 1.7, and then two on there 2.7 900 into 1.4 into 1 into 2 and then into 3.2 or something like that. However, he in this case unfortunately had kings. I still think it was fine. Now that I see it on Icy Miser, should be fine. Mm, but yeah, the thing is he even tank called. I think he tanked for like 10 or 15 seconds. So yeah, I think it's just fine. However, we then lost the chip lead. And here versus the donk, I thought I was sure to. I thought I had to try this here. If he then goes for the three bet, I think we should just flat here, not raise this. That was my mistake here. But yeah, we just give up the next one. And yeah, from that point on, we had to fold a lot here. And then he got kings again into jacks to yeah bust the next person. And as you see, we unfortunately he also went for pretty big bets, and yeah, we had to give up a lot. Of course, I didn't want to let him push me around too much, so I think ace nine suited is definitely fine here, even though we have this short stack here. But yeah, then we get it in king jack versus ace nine, and we were able to bust the next player, getting it in 40-60, flopping top pair, and then dodging the ace, the hearts, and the nine on the river. Really nice. And then as you see, we had 76 hands of heads up. And as you also see, we are 91 to 37 big blinds. So at first there was still 128 big blinds to play for. And yeah, we had a bit more than a fourth, so like 30% of the chips roughly. And yeah, let's see if we have some interesting decisions. So here, just easy open shove, open shoving one more time. And yeah, then he shoves. So as you see, there's not too much flop play really. Um, I kind of vary my heads up play quite a lot, to be honest. I sometimes go for a more passive approach, limping a lot, and seeing some hands. But I think for my state number of big blinds, I think I was. Oh yeah, sorry, I skipped that one so fast. Because yeah, for my number of big blinds, I think I go for a more aggressive one. I rather take a pre-flop mostly and go for some raises because he will fold a lot more of his range, I think. So decision here. Let's go back. I mean, you saw the results. Sorry for that, but so we have a Conti bet here with third pair. I think that's fine. The eight gives us a open ender as well, but we do check it behind. He could have like some tens or queens, maybe even like eight nine, jack nine or something like that. But I do expect him to. Yeah, to be honest, I do expect him to raise it. As you see, he's been showing some aggression. He like raised versus blinds two three times. Also donk raised versus me and stuff like that. So I do see him doing like also ace high is really valuable in heads up. Mm. So I felt like also because of the sizing wise, I think for a value bet he's gonna go a bit lower. And I'm blocking a 9, which was really nice. So yeah, I mean, you saw it. I made the call versus ace 3 to yeah, win a nice one and getting a bit closer here. Then I also, because my stack was bigger, I decided to go for, again, a bit more passive approach. As you see, just flatting here with ace 10. Don't really see it too good in 3-betting the hand. And yeah, same here again. So you see, I think I'm getting the maximum here out of this hand because I made him betting two streets here with 7-4 offsuit into our ace 10. And yeah, so as said, we're getting closer. And then we flop second pair, we get the check. And here I decide to just overpot bet it. Um, I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of draws here as well, and I would also go really high with my draws. So 8-6 in spades, 6-5 in spades, any spades really. Then the normal straight draws like 6-5, even some backdoor flush draws with the clubs. And yeah, so it's not going to be basically always a 7. I will do that with some kings as well, even with some fours, because then I block that, so he can't really hear, like he will not have that to hero call me. Um, and yeah, but we took it like this. And wait, why did it jump to that hand? I don't want that to happen. Okay, we continue here. Sorry again, guys. Yeah, first time we 3-bet, but as you see then pretty clearly for value. Okay, I will just oh no, that's not the hand. There it is. Yeah, I will just close this one to have less hands here to look at, because then the holder manager will not be too hard for him to continue. Yeah, so here again, I check behind two overcards. I think we can afford to check this one behind. It looks really dry, so this might also be a spot for him to check raise a lot because we will not have too much here. So I'd rather check behind for pot control. He goes for the big bet on the turn, and we just give it up. We do have the gut shot and one overcard, but yeah, it's not too much with just jack high. Then we give up that. We raise fold here. And then you see, so with my ace high, I feel pretty good a lot of times. Here we split it. And you see, like this time, I exactly did that, and he just raised me. So I got punished for not checking this behind. Second time I found on the table that we have aces, but no action, unfortunately. Here the same. I think I should check. And actually, I think I'm fine with betting this with the gut shot here versus a raise. We need to give it up, however. But yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, then we open, I think queen high, heads up, fairly easy open. Of course, on hitting that board, we go fairly big here. I think that he will call us more often with, like, he's gonna call us with like even some king highs and ace highs a lot. So I think that's why it's fine to go bigger. Usually on that boards I wouldn't go that big, but because he was uh, I hate him as a player who, yeah, at least goes for one or two calls with ace king high stuff. Also, could be on some jack X. He's definitely gonna call. So, and if he has any queen X or like some straight draw, then same thing. Ace. And also, so one thing I think that with king 10, for example, he would check raise the flop. So I didn't give him too much here. Of course, you could, like, if he goes for the ace high flow, then it's kind of perfect. Ace Jack would be a three bet, Ace Queen would be a three bet, so it's only Ace 3, and that's not a lot of combos he can have anymore because we block a 3 here. So I went quite big here as well for the turn. King is then yeah, I mean, I think I checked that behind, but if I think about it, really, it shouldn't change too much. Don't see him except Jack 10 and Queen 10 calling two times with a hand like with a 10 here. 10-9 might be a thing, but that would be kind of it. So I think I had another bet here, but I think I checked it behind. But as you see, he called me two times with with a Jack only. So in that case, I think it was okay because I mean versus a range, his range, I think it wasn't. I think I should go in for another bet because he's not gonna have too many 10x here. Versus that specific hand, I will not get a call here, but I think in general we should bet queen 3 here. Next hand. Yeah, again, we call once here, and the good thing is he just gave it up. So often here it's annoying that he hit his deuce, so that's why he gave it up because he had showdown value. But generally speaking, so he calls here, and then we just continue here with our nut flush, of course. He's gonna have, yeah, basically. I mean, I don't have to explain it too much. He's gonna have any 10x, 4x, 3x. Maybe he pick up some queen x or so. In this case, he just folded it. But anyway, yeah. Here, for example, him checking behind does show me quite some weakness. And in that case, they call once with a 10 or a queen. I think with a 10 mostly, then 10 or an 8. Um, so I think I need to go for the second barrel. And then I may make it so small for a reason because it kind of shows like, yeah, I definitely want to call here. So just please call me quickly so I can like squeeze you a little bit more. That's why I went for this small bet. Got the fold just as I wanted to. And yeah, we open the next hand. Here we go again, fairly big on this one. That might be a hand where he check raises us with overcards or something like that. Feel pretty comfortable. I think I should not check behind the turn though. He's not always gonna hit the queen really, and we want to charge him with his 3x or deuce x. So yeah, not the best play. Yeah. Then, however, the queen makes it again easy for us, so we do get one bet out of him. And yeah, as again with the queens pairing the board, we have an easy call here with the queen. And yeah, I mean, as you see, we were grinding him down by quite a bit. And oh, yeah. Holmes. Oh, again, the Holden manager skipped some hands. I'm really sorry for that because there was the one interesting one. So basically, as you see it here, we had jacks and we got it in. I will just show it to you. Wait. So we are at 10-4. Yeah, I'll just show you the jacks hand. Sorry. So yeah, that was at the bit earlier then, where we had jacks versus ace queen. Yeah, pretty standard three betting shove for 21 bigs, and we held to double. And yeah, those are the last hands now. Just make sure that haven't. Yeah, we saw those hands. Yeah, okay. The rest is fine. Really sorry about that, guys. Where was it? Here. Okay. So, yeah, raise and take it here. And as you see, we were ahead suddenly. And yeah, not, I mean, pretty standard spots so far. Here, I saw him checking behind so much, so I kind of felt like he just goes for it because it's an ace high board and that could fit his range and so on. So I went for the small raise and yeah, just continued on basically any turn. So that's basically almost the best card really for us. Also for our hand because we pick up a lot of equity with it if he does have some hand here. But yeah, so the flush comes in, which we can wrap which we can perfectly wrap a lot of maybe if you have the maybe some king jack, I would check raise with the king of diamonds, for example. Any ace really, we would still continue here. And yeah, he just needs to give up so much. I just think because of how small we raised, because we basically clicked it back here, that he has to call with almost anything here. Yeah. Next hand here, Jack 8. Then we just have 8-5. And we already come to the last one here. So you see it's a pretty big one, and to be honest. He had 45 bigs, made his standard 3-bet to 3.25x. And I decided to just 4-bet jam it. Pocket threes. Um, I definitely gonna have a look at that one to see if that was fine. Raise, raise, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so basically every pocket pair is fine. It's close, but his 3-bet range should be fairly wide. And as you see, he should be 3-betting like 46%. And yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, we will. I just don't. Well, actually, it's. I think it's definitely fine. Like that, he would go for like 10% out of every hand here. That he's gonna do it 1 out of 10 times randomly with some hands, and almost all his aces. I think that's actually pretty fine assumption. So again, yeah, every pocket pair is really fine. Even every would be a positive shove, and even some. Let's go a bit further here. So do it like this. Yeah, a lot of the higher broadways would be good. So yeah, I wasn't completely sure if it's a good shove. However, he made the call and he had ace 10 offsuit. I was kind of surprised. You saw that on the stream for sure, guys. But yeah, I mean, I'll definitely take it. We won two really important flips, the jacks versus ace queen, then we won the threes versus ace 10 here for a really big one. As you see, I would have been down to 2 million here. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the hands we went through, I think I made like 3 or 4 smaller mistakes. One or two of them still worked, and we definitely held pretty well in flips. So if you saw the hands there, we did win quite a lot of flips this time. And of course, this is important, but I think in a lot of other pots where we made really nice bluffs or made some nice calls, that's how you, yeah, make most of the work. Of course, the flips are important, but yeah, you can't forget about those hands, and I think they help you a lot, or they pave the way actually to win this tournament in the end. And yeah, that is it. I mean, yeah, I do have the screen, so I can just show you the screen if you haven't seen that, where it is. Let me just open it for you. So here, just for you to see it again. Yeah, in the end, we won. Also, I can have a look here. You see, the blue ones are actually bad regulars. The purple ones are more likely fun players. The orange ones are good, like pretty good rags, and the yellow one is yeah, just a rag. I didn't see anything extraordinary from him, but he has good results so far. So yeah, we also have like a magenta. I know it's a magenta. It's yeah, like a light blue. I forgot how that is called in English. But yeah, those are the crazy ones, and then the red ones are the sickos, the crushers. But yeah, in the end, you still it was 1.2k heads up, and yeah, I'm definitely happy to win this one. I think I asked for a deal. I wanted when I was behind at first, so I had the 3-1 chip disadvantage. I asked for an even chop. He wanted to play, so yeah, we just showed him how it works. And yeah, this is gonna be it for today's stream. Really, I hope you liked this kind of approach today as well. It's if I do a lot of thinking or like need a few seconds, just because have to think about how to show it in the best way. So that's why it could take some time. Will probably do that more often. Hopefully, I will have more wins or at least some nice final tables to show. And yeah, then we can then I will do that again. It was just a bit hard because, like as you see, 725 hands for the whole thing. So to because the filters are like though we don't have those filters to do it in the perfect way to just show every hand that I played and not the ones I folded. But I think the way I did it was fine. So yeah, that will be it then. I hope you also liked and yeah learned some stuff on here to how to show like as you saw different ranges or how like when you have just one range of the opponent and you put your hand out and then you can see what he would normally continue with just to get an idea of what he should do or would do to see if you could continue with your hand or how you should play your hand. Uh, and yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section or here in the chat still. I'll be at least leaving the site open for a bit, but for now, this is going to be it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to say at the very least before we end this stream to first subscribe to our YouTube channel, tap the bell to not miss out on any of our videos, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and wherever we are. Twitch, you can also follow us on Twitch, and you can then get a notification whenever I go online. As a little tip, it's mostly going to be on Thursdays currently. And yeah, then once again, no, where is it? There. We have this really nice poker course, and I can just warmly advise you to go for it. It's normally costs 300 euros. You can get it for free. Just hit the link in the description below to get in contact with one of our managers. And yeah, they will explain you everything. Basically, you're just gonna play on the website on the poker software. You create some rake, and after you create a certain amount of rake, then the poker software will just pay the course for you. You have group courses in there. It's 4 in total. It's going to be about the strategy for MTTs. It's going to be about the math and poker. It's going to be about the poker software and how to use it. So you'll have, as you see, you're going to have Hold'em Manager. We will talk about, you see down the Equilab here. We will talk about the Equilab. We will talk about Simple Nash and so on and so forth. Last but not least, we're going to do a hand review in a group. This has been pretty fun so far all the time. Everybody had some nice hands in there. Or most of the time, there's always some hands you don't want to show because you feel embarrassed about it. But therefore, we also have the 2 individual lessons. And on those, we will do some more hand reviews. You can do a live session where I just watch you play, and then afterwards we discuss your play, or we talk about more about the software if you maybe are just not sure about some stuff in the Holder Manager or IC Miser or Simple Nash, Flopzilla, whatever. We can go for all that. Again, just hit the link in the description below. And also, if you're a complete new and you were able to follow me until the end now, you can go for our free roll master course. This is a small series that that I and my colleagues created. There's some videos where we explain the stages of a free roll, the types of players that are on the free roll, and also talk about some more basic poker math, where we then make you a like the, yeah as it says, the master of the free roll. You can get that course for free as well. For that, also just hit the link in the description below, get in contact with one of our managers, and get started. You just have to register on one of our sites, and then you can go through all the videos and quizzes, because there's going to be some quizzes after the videos just to make sure you understand everything, or you understood everything, and you have it in your head to use it on the tables. And then from then on, you can just start. And last but not least, if you also are interested, not in the group course or in the starter course in the free roll master, because you're already playing for some time and you have some results maybe, but you keep losing money currently, then you can get in touch with also our managers, but you can also get in touch with me, and you can book individual coachings if you want to. So you've seen how I analyze the stuff, how I use the programs to analyze the hands. And if you want to get a deeper analysis on your hands, on your leagues, and also want to understand how to use the programs, you can get individual coachings by me, book as many hours as you want, or we can go for a fixed number. It's as you want, and also then we can talk about what you need and make a nice plan to cover everything that you need to improve your game and become a winning player. Um, a lot of talking again. Next time when we play, I will probably talk a bit less about everything. But now, thanks for watching, guys. Again, see you probably next Thursday or in one of our YouTube videos where we will have, quite some updates in the upcoming days again. So make sure to check those videos out and leave some likes. But for now, that's it. See you guys on the next stream. Bye.